Here we go, Chapter 9 that we've backtracked to. Fort Rigwald. But now we're doing it for the for real save file. Grotto Keep. The Stone of Frelia has already been taken care of. How is the Stone of Renee? How is it the Stone of Renee continues to elude us? Glenn, Walter, find the children of Renee. Find them and take from them the bracelets that they wear. Glenn, take Erica. Walter, take Ephraim. Find them. Conquer them. Yes, Your Majesty. Erica, eh? She's a right little peach. And her brother Ephraim. He's better prey than I'd imagined. I can feel my blood rushing at the thought. This might be fun after all. Kalak, Reeve, shatter the remaining sacred stones. Kalak, take Gehenna. Reeve, take Rouston. Go, crush the sacred stones they house. As you will. I'll begin making arrangements for Rouston's downfall immediately. Why am I stuck with Gehenna? Cursed ill luck. I became a mercenary to escape that wretched place. Now I must go back? Dussel, go to Frelia. Punish the Frelian army and their commander, Ephraim. Begging your pardon, Your Majesty. Now that you've conquered Renee, what are your plans for her citizens? The country is in ruins. Thieves and bandits swagger about as if... Leave them. But, sire... Sir Dussel, the Emperor has spoken. Please. Selena, remain here in the capital. We shall have new orders for you shortly. Understood. Please, Your Majesty, grant me the privilege of a single question. You vex us, Your Majesty. You know that I will gladly lay down my life for an honorable cause. These orders, and all of our recent actions, they are not just. If I saw any way in which this invasion protected Grotto, I would hold my tongue. But now, Renee is left ungoverned to drown in chaos, and we gain nothing. Why do you wage this war? What is it you hope to achieve? You've sent our men to fight and die for nothing. This isn't war, it's murder. Dussel, this decision is ours to make. You have no voice in these matters. Punish me if you must, Your Majesty, but I implore you. Please rethink this. If this continues, Grotto will... Dussel, go to Frelia. Crush the Frelian army, and he who leads them, Prince Ephraim. Your Majesty! Have you gone deaf? Dussel, go to Frelia. Crush the Frelian army, and he who leads them, Prince Ephraim. Yes, Your Majesty. Commander Geb? We captured a Pegasus Knight snooping about outside. Let me go. Stop it. That hurts. Oh. You didn't tell me she was such a treat for the eyes. I should just do like Jabba the Hutt sounds instead of a voice. This is a prize worth catching. I came for Ephraim. If you do anything to me, he will not be merciful. I like her. Throw her in a cell. I'll spend the evening giving her a thorough interrogation. You beast! This is Fort Rigwald. It has stood unconquered for generations. Its defenses are legendary. It is the jewel of Grotto's fortifications, and its walls have never been breached. And if we don't capture it, any attack on the capital will be pointless. Tell me what you see, Seth. Do we have the power to take it? It's a daunting task. The enemy has the advantage of both terrain and numbers. But what about in morale? Do you suspect the soldiers may be unwilling to fight? And Anything's possible. This war is a sudden thing, but Grotto and Renee had long been friendly. Before these hostilities, our nations were allies. No, closer even than that. This is the Emperor's War, but the hearts of the people are not so swift to change. For example, General Dussel, one of the Imperial Three they call Obsidian. He was the one who taught me what I know about fighting with the lance. Dussel's sympathies are sure to remain with Renee, and with our cause. He is loyal to Grotto. He has no love of war. I am sure he will speak with me. And more than that, Prince Leon has been my friend for years. And from what it seemed like in the Erica routes, it looks like he might have the hots for my sister. He can be timid at times, and perhaps was unable to oppose his father in this. And I'm sure he detests this fighting and shares my opinions. Prince Ephraim. There must be some Grotto soldiers within the castle who do not want to fight. We can rush the fort and seize the throne room. I believe they will surrender. But that's missing EXP, dude! Have you not played Fire Emblem? Optimism here may be deadly. Still, it's a far better plan than challenging the main army face to face. Erica is on her way to Rouston to help end this conflict. We cannot afford to wait here for much longer. We must take this fort and then press on to the capital itself. Let's go. Attack! We're under attack! Looks to be Frelian troops. Their commander is Prince Ephraim of Renee. Renee? This whole thing stinks. I assume that was Amelia speaking before, it looked like from the sprite. My younger sister and her husband were living in Renee. What does the Emperor think starting this war? I think... Hey. Ah. Oh, it's this dude here. Yeah, I heard you. Talking about not fighting, are you? Losing your nerve? Punishment for treason is harsh. You'll burn at the stake. But it's not just me. Even General Dussel is opposed to this war. Dussel? You'd side with that washed-up coward? But who is your commanding officer? Is it Dussel? Come on, out with it. You are Sir Geb. That's right. So that should make it clear whose orders you follow, eh? Got that, dolts? If you do, then shut up and get in formation. No one cares whether you minnows live or die anymore. Got it?
Wait a moment. That's a horrible thing to say.
Who are you supposed to be? Your name, out with it.
I'm Amelia. I was assigned to this fort today. I'm a soldier of Grotto. I'm not a slave.
What's this now? You're a girl? Got a lot of nerve talking like that to your commander, recruit. Looks like I'm going to have to teach you about the chain of command. Commander Geb, enemy troops approaching. Ah, sticking interruptions. Form up, you useless worms. Don't let those dogs near the throne. Grotto cannot afford to lose a brilliant tactician of my stature. No one will blink if any of you worthless toads dies, but if I die, you should be happy to fight, kill, and die in my service.
I became a soldier to honor the Emperor, General Dussel, and the people of Grotto. But this is wrong.
That's the lot of a soldier. We're pawns in the games of kings and emperors. We fight as ordered, and we die as ordered. That's it. Come on, time to go. Alright, that's it of the cutscene there. Let's see. Probably have it ready, gonna put it on a Google Drive or Megaphone and just send the link with the sub alert. Okie doke. I hope the new bot won't think I'm a bot for sending the link. I don't believe it will. That shouldn't be the case. Is like mandatory lunch breaks at your workplace. Lunch breaks at our workplace is go take lunch when you want to go take lunch. And just, report the hours you work. If there's a day where I want to take a 2-hour lunch, I can do that. Like, that's the kind of workplace that is. It's like, you want to take lunch, you go take lunch. Is the case. So who all am I bringing here? Yeah, I've kind of downgraded my units now, haven't I? Hold on a hot second here. Wait, maybe I want to bring you. Hold on. I could bring the molder. Same here, except we all have to take breaks each shift because it gets cut from our paychecks. I see. So yeah, salaried paychecks then, so have to at points. Whereas for me, it's just hourly, is the case. Yeah, maybe I do want Molder just so I have a second healer. Someone that can heal Natasha. Could bring Ford or Kyle just as like a backup, and they are a little bit higher level. I don't know, man. Sure, fine, this is my setup. What the hell items do I have on this file, huh? Am I stocked up? Oh yeah. Take some things, I guess. I guess you may as well also take some vulneraries and stuff. But you may as well do. And then you're fine, you're fine. You're sort of fine. Need space to steal in case there's things to steal now that I actually care about this save file. Yeah, go ahead and do this. I probably have some more acts. I wouldn't mind stocking up at some point here. Alright, your thingamabobs. Let's preserve this, because that's what I do. Give me some things. And then... Oh, I do not have a javelin. That is a little bit of a problem. You don't need your javelin, do you, Seth? Not peeling, is it? I just heard a crack. Should be fine. I hope. I think. Should be okay. Let's see here. Check map. When the new chefs first got hired, he was like, you guys get breaks? We don't get breaks, but I told him, nope, AR chicks, everyone's paychecks were required to take a 30-minute lunch break. Otherwise, we're just working for free for 30 minutes. Makes sense. It kind of has the same thing too then. I mean, if I want to work for like 8 hours uninterrupted, I can. And there have been days before where it's like, I will continue to eat and code. Like, that's just what I do there. Except, you know, with me doing the current task that I'm assigned with, like, I have to take breaks and look away from it and stuff. But days back when I was working mostly on the real estate side and then doing a little bit of coding on the side, I just keep on working and, like, you know, eat while I work, essentially. And then, you know, have a full 8-hour day. Nowadays, with, like, the coding front and how overwhelming it is for me, I'm typically taking, like, 1 to 2 hours off. Like, all in all, throughout the day of, like, taking breaks. I'm like, God, I gotta look at something different. It's like a bug-eyed staring at this code base for 8 hours a day. Honestly. What do you bet there's some chests here? Something. There totally is. Okay. So, whoops. I want to do formation here, is what I wouldn't mind. Lower movement units at the front. Yeah, but isn't that like as complicated as much as video editing super crazy videos and stuff? No, that's easy. That's just time consuming. That's all that is. It's just like, making super long videos is just time consuming is all it is. It's not remotely hard. The web development that I'm doing is pretty friggin' hard. I'm gonna care about loot's levels again here. Seth will catch up again in no time. So don't worry about him. Sure, do something like this. Let's go ahead and save. This is just time consuming. It's also super tough to figure out. Yeah, I'll talk about that when I get this map properly started. When we were talking about work there earlier, I kind of wanted to talk about it, but I was like, oh, I may as well ramble while I'm playing, so I'm like actually productive. So now this chapter's underway, I can talk about work stuff. Oh, what a fool I've been. I came all this way to help Ephraim, and I end up getting captured again. That General Geb had the creepiest eyes, and that laugh, oh. Hurry, Ephraim, please. Hurry and rescue me. May as well there. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay. Just do that really quickly. Oh, I can't quite reach her. Hey, if you want any tips on anything for tech stuff, you can ask my mom. She knows computer stuff way more than me. I mean, she's the director in technology for the whole New Orleans Convention Center. I mean, in terms of the tech stuff that I'm working on, it's full stack development on a new examination website for one of the biggest universities in the city, is what it is. So it's extremely, extremely specialized in web development instead of just general tech stuff. And that's why I'm kind of overwhelmed with it. Do you have range? Nah, you don't. Steel Lance. Okay, that should be fine then. These two best buds are gonna come on over this way. We're gonna go this way. So yeah, for background on this job here, I was looking for work for a long time last year there, and my Taekwondo instructor knew that I was and said that he'd keep an eye out. And he had let me know that there was a opportunity there. Yeah, a whole lot of coding, and like a whole lot of things that are offshoots of coding there too. Let's go ahead and do this. And I'm very good with coding myself as well, but this is like full web development is the thing. So I got a referral from my Taekwondo instructor that was like, oh yeah, they're looking for extra hands. I don't know if it's oh, I can control you right now. Don't know if it's quite up your programming alley because it's real estate, but you know, maybe it's something to do. I was like, okay, well, check it out. He turned in my resume for me, and you know, I got a call sometime later that was from the person that had become my boss, and you know, he's running around like crazy, like he's in the car while he's phoning me, and miss. Oh, nice. And you know, I'm answering some questions of his, and I come in the following week for an interview, and go ahead and do that. And he had told me that it's a very multifaceted company, real estate, e-learning, and software development. So he's like, yeah, if you came on with us, we would have you start with the real estate side just for like, you know, general help and different things there and get used to our company and stuff. Please be a good level up because I'm keeping the save file. Ooh, that is pretty good. Ooh, thank you, game. We're off to a good start here. Level 7, level 8. Levels aren't as important. Level 4, but you know what? Here, just do this. Yeah, do this. I'm directed 2 for tech for a reason. Knows quite a lot. Just letting you know if you need some extra outside assistance, sure my mom could lend some advice and stuff. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I do think that it do be pretty crazy here. A lot of this stuff. And ultimately, I do figure it out. But it's just not the best way of figuring it out, I don't think. Please. Damn you! If there was any +1 I could have gotten, though, that's a pretty good one. So not the worst. Here, go ahead and Iron Sword. Get the murder squad in here. Let's get going. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're already maxed out on swords, even here. Okay, fair enough. But yeah. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see here. But yeah, so essentially I got started with the real estate side and was told that, you know, if I stay on with the company for a while, apparently the big boss, the one that's, you know, more head honcho of the company and, you know, overseeing, like, the e-learning stuff, he told me, like, the big boss might be interested in snatching you since you have, like, all this programming stuff on your resume. But we'd start you out with the real estate side and, you know, see where it gets, essentially. So I started in September on a 3-month contract. I started out as a contract worker, so not as a proper employee, just as like a trial period, essentially, to see if they even liked me, see if like I worked well and stuff like that, and if they wanted to renew me. And my boss told me like, hey, if you stay on past 3 months, then we'll up your pay and we'll discuss like, you know, potentially getting you more into the programming side or something like that. So I just started at $20 an hour. When my last job, when I was working at the university, I earned $25 an hour, so, you know, a little bit of a downgrade from what I was doing before, but hey, it's work, you know, so I went into it and I was like, hey, and there's the possibility of getting a raise for that. This was back in September. This isn't now. This is back in September is where this story is beginning. So I started with like this 3-month contract being told like, hey, it's temporary. We're just trying you out. You're trying us out, seeing if it's a good fit. And, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. Maybe you go over to the programming side. Maybe you become an asset to the company and we'll like renegotiate. And, you know, you can choose whether you want to become salaried at that point or if you want to stay as a contract worker and just report the hours you work and all that. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that's what we'll do then. So I worked through the first half of the winter there and was helping mostly with the real estate side, like doing inspections, helping with different tenants and stuff, doing lots of paperwork. I would do a little bit of programming on the side. Hell yeah! I would do some programming on the side, like our company's Google Calendar. It does a whole bunch of like fancy things that Google Calendar was never meant to do. Because I freaking got in there with Google App scripts that I didn't even know existed before. And did a whole bunch of like programming jargon and made it into like a really quite cool, robust system that gives us a comprehensive history of everything that we've done, that we've scheduled in the calendar, labeled by building and labeled by unit, which is really quite cool to give us a really handy paper trail and stuff. Every task that's assigned to anybody, you put like the initials at the front of their name, and it gives them a specific color for consistency. So like my color's green, for example. So you can just look at a Google Calendar across events and see all these colors. You write in someone's name or change the name. My script changes it in 15 minutes. I set it on a 15-minute trigger, but I can change that to like 5 minutes or something. But, you know, and it just checks, are there names to update the color for every once in a while? And then it updates them. It's pretty cool. So I learned a whole lot about Google Apps scripts by doing that. So I did do a little bit of programming for the real estate side, but not a massive ton. And I made a inspection report program. So like someone moves into a unit or out of a unit, we do a inspection report. So we can see like, hey, what was the apartment like before you moved in? What was it like after you moved in? So like you look at the report and be like, huh, this hole in the wall wasn't here when you moved in. We're taking that out of your damage deposit to repair that, you know. So you document what it was like before and after. I wrote a program in Python that allows you to, instead of like going through a form and taking however long describing what the status of every little thing is, you instead take a video, you say what it is you're looking at. I'm looking at the entrance door. It looks okay. It looks clean. You say snap to take a photo, and it takes photos. Python is one of the most common programming languages in the world. So anytime you say the word snap, it takes a photo and it labels it as the right thing. So in that instance, it would label it as entrance doors, and it would insert it into the document as like a hyperlink right at like the respective category, and links you to like the end of the form where you have like all these images appended. So I take like a 10-15 minute video of the unit and just speak into it, and it generates this beautiful report full of like all the statuses for everything, and it has like a bazillion photos at the end for you to see right in the PDF report. This is what everything actually looks like. So I made a couple of cool programs for the real estate side there, but programming wasn't like the main thing that I was doing. Ephraim maybe wouldn't mind some stuff here. Let's go ahead and do this. I was doing a little bit on the side with the math camps. So the e-learning side, the boss on the e-learning side is essentially trying to make a platform to help kids learn math and financial skills through e-learning, through short little fun games. And so to kind of kick that off, last year they started doing these math camps, where it's like a summer camp kind of thing, except, you know, like a weekly kind of camp that kids come into and get to like play these games, have like mentorship from all these university students that are, you know, helping out with this. Yeah, sure, go ahead and do this. And play these video games where they get to learn math and financial skills. So where I was helping out on that side is I was the one making the intro videos. So I was doing a lot of video editing. I was recording in this room here. I'd move my camera to like up here so it'd look at me straight on. I'd be like, welcome to this game. In this game, you solve the equation by doing this, this, and this. And, you know, so these kids in these math camps are seeing my face a whole lot. And one of my coworkers told me that we've been Pavloving these kids into joy at seeing my face, because if they see my face, they know they're playing a game right after, which is really quite funny. And I've also been doing a little bit of 3D printing on the side for this part of the company, because they give away things like my 3D printed dragons as prizes at these math camps. So they'll do things like give away candies, Pokemon cards, my 3D printed dragons. So like you build up points at these math camps and you can redeem them for prizes like it's a Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. So some of my 3D printing's getting in there too, and it's kind of fun to do that. So that was my help with the e-learning side. And come December, the e-learning side I'm doing through the university, the same university that I worked for before, actually. So it's funny, I technically had my old title back. I was a research assistant before at the university, and when I got hired on for this e-learning side and billed all my e-learning hours through there, I'm technically a research assistant at the same university I was a research assistant at before. So I'm still technically a research assistant, or I was at least. And in December, my contract had expired for the university, and my boss for the e-learning side was like, yeah, I'm gonna need Jake on a little bit longer for like these, you know, intro videos and everything that he's doing. Let's go ahead here, why not? I'm gonna need Jake's help a little longer. So he got me renewed at the university until the end of March 31st, 2 days ago. And I was like, yep, you know, fine by me, and, you know, signed contract renewal for him. But that wasn't the end of, like, my 3-month contract with the real estate side where I'd started at, like, $20 an hour. That one ended, like, mid-January. So, you know, I did the renewal with my e-learning boss. My contract was still ongoing with my real estate boss. And I kind of, you know, kept at it. And then come January, I ended up having a chat with my boss about, like, hey, you know, what are things looking like about, like, contract renewal here? Are you deciding to keep me on? And if so, do I get the raise that you said that I would get when you would keep me on past this trial period? He said, yeah, we do want to keep you on, but, ooh, things are really tight right now. We can't increase it. We can't increase what we're paying you. I was like, I mean, you kind of told me in the beginning when oh, my float is done over there. You kind of told me in the beginning that if I pass the, this 3-month trial period and you decide to keep me on, that you'd increase what I'm being paid. Oh, the print technically peeled off at the beginning. Oh, is it still usable? Huh. I need to wash this build plate. There's probably plastic residue and stuff like that that makes it peel. Plus, I'm not using the controller. It's open air, which means it's going to be more prone to peeling. Maybe I should set up the enclosure again and this will work better. Do not sleep me. Oh, thank God. Oh, there's a druid there. Look, it peeled right there. Whoa. Camera, stay still. So I have it do all these supports, so that's going to stay still and give it lots of surface area. But it peeled right there. It might still be functional, though. That might not hurt the function. Maybe. Like, as long as there's no holes in it. I print it hollow, so that's nice and light. So if there's a single hole in it, water will get in. I don't see any holes. This might be functional. It's just wonky as hell. I don't want to print the other part of the float right now because it's going to peel. I already know. I should set up my enclosure again. Maybe I worry about the other part of the float another time, and I don't worry about it for now, and I 3D print something else for now. Like, part of a trophy for one of these events. Maybe what I do. Maybe. But these things that are prone to peel. I need to clean my build plate, and I need to set up my enclosure again, evidently. Let's see here. Oh. What else can I print in the meantime? I could start printing a trophy. Hold on, let me refer to what colors I did for the Mario Kart trophy at Fragapalooza. Let me scroll down to August in my camera roll, because I actually kind of liked the colors that I used in that one. I might do that again for this Mario trophy here. I did like bronze at the bottom, and then I went gold. I could probably do that there. They did just hire a bunch of new people now, but yeah, this was in January that this had gone on. Alright, 240, and then this is going to be in PLA, so I'll make the bed 60 Celsius instead of 70. Yeah, I'll finish the float another time. This is not the time for it. I need something with a nice square surface area that's not going to peel here, and I just need to find where the hell my bronze is. I think I know why. I'll continue the story in a hot second here. I put it right here. Oh hell yeah, I did remember, I think. Red copper. Yes. That's the filament I need. That on there. I need my cleaning filament. Because I just printed something that prints at a higher temperature than this. So if I lower the temperature and print it out, the stuff that doesn't melt at this lower temperature is still going to be stuck in there. So I put cleaning filament at the higher temperature. Clean it on out of there. Here. Essentially get a fresh wipe in my printing system. And then I'll lower the temperature and put in the thing that prints at a lower temperature. This is what I do. Okay, unload a sec here. Drop the temperature down to 210 degrees Celsius instead of 240. I was printing out before. Then we're gonna get a nice bronze base for this trophy. I want to do Mario Tennis Fever at Megaland in addition to a medieval type fighting game. So I need a couple Mario trophies. And even if I change my mind about that, I can always use it for frag. So I may as well print a base. So this is a nice little bronze that I have here. It's red copper. It works well as a bronze. It's gonna be my bronze, and then I'll transition it to gold. Well, let's see here. Put that in there. Now, before I started the stream, I didn't even have my printer plugged in. I had it unplugged since I had to unplug it to take the enclosure off. Let's see here. I need to go to my gaming folder. Mario Kart trophy. Won't even be used for Mario Kart, but it's still applicable there. Mario Kart trophy based 3-color PLA. Hell yeah, print that. Print that for me, please. Just with my fingers. It's not that hot. It cools pretty rapidly. It comes out pretty damn hot. It comes out at 200 degrees Celsius. But yeah, let's see here. Maybe see if they're offering salary instead. Perhaps it'll be a bigger increase then. I don't know. I prefer hour though. They have any good benefits though, at least? Like, do they have 401k? Nope. No benefits, no proper employment, just contract worker. So I'm just a contractor for them, coming in and doing some hours and, you know, doing some work on the side. Yeah, no benefits because I'm a contractor. $20 an hour, no benefits. Nada. Sorta. So, here, let's go ahead and save state. So, continuing my story here. They said that they would increase my wage after, like, 3 months if they decide to keep me on. They wanted to keep me on, but they were like, yeah, no, to the, increased wage, even though that was one of the things that they told me when they first brought me on, is like, we'll increase it after 3 months if we decide to keep you on. Nope, that did not end up being the case. And I was like, and so my boss and I were discussing that, and I was like, I don't know, I might try to seek jobs elsewhere if that doesn't change. Because I do want to be making more than $20 an hour with no benefits. Record them the next time they make promises. It wasn't in my contract, it was just by mouth, even if it was recorded. I don't think anyone would care there. So my boss was like, it's just really, really tight these next couple months because we just bought the post office. This old 1912 post office in, here, go ahead and do this. In town here. Really cool, actually, old historic building. But because they just bought that building, he was like, yeah, financials are really tight right now. Can't really think about that since we just bought that building. And, I was like, I don't know, man. I was kind of going off of the expectation that things would get a little bit better for me here. And so I was talking with him there, and I was like, you know what? It's mid-January. The big boss already renewed me until the end of March to help out with the e-learning stuff. I eventually came to the conclusion with my boss, you know what? Fine. I'll stay on as is until the end of March at least. And then we'll revisit and then we'll see. But I would very much like a wage increase by the end of March there. Go ahead and grab that droopy. And there was a little bit here. This it should be able to print. Should be a good surface for not peeling. Despite the conditions here. So that was what we did, and he was like, all right, start working on the software development side, start working on this site. So I didn't know much about what was going on at that point there with the actual software development side of the company, but as it turns out, what it is this company used to be a programming company. It used to be software development. Like, it used to be a technology company. And in the early 2000s, or not early 2000s, mid 2000s, they were doing a lot of web development and different things. So, this really big university in my city, one of the institutions I haven't gone to, actually. I've gone to like 3 different institutions in my city. This one I haven't gone to. But, point is, this really big university in the city, they had apparently gotten them as a customer for their web interface because they had like some really cool tools for like mathematical equations and stuff like that that other websites of the mid 2000s just didn't have at the time. And since then, this university has been using the company that I work for's software, their web platform, to run all their exams. But this website is now like 15 years old. You look at the website and it looks like something dated from the mid 2000s. And you look online of, like, students from this university talking about them taking their exams, and they're like, yeah, the university made us take, like, this really old, like, rinky-dink software. And, it's undergoing some failures from time to time, which is, you know, a bit scary. And, you know, it doesn't have a lot of modern tools that, like, students and professors want. It's just, like, it's a relic of the past, essentially. But because this company still has, like, you know, this university's, like, full data and them as a customer and stuff like that, the university figured, like, hey, it's cheaper and easier to have these guys upgrade their system than it is to transition to a new system. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're not upgrading the current code, we're making something completely different, a 2.0, and using the original as reference there. So, giving them a not rinky-dink software for their exams. Please miss. It's probably gonna miss. If it doesn't, I'm gonna lose my mind. Miss. Damn you, game! I need him! Fuck. Ugh. Oh my god. That's really bad. Here, do this. So I wasn't sure exactly what I was getting into there. And the team, up until this point, has been 5 people working on making an entire new examination site for a very big university. There's been the brother of my real estate boss that has apparently been the one maintaining, like, the existing platform for the past 15 years and, you know, answering this university's, like, problems and questions and resolving everything and all that. So he's the one that's most in the know and actually understands this code base. There's myself, working full-time at it, like, when the real estate side doesn't call me. Like, if something comes up and they are actually short on hands, then they will, you know, still ask me for help and stuff like that there, but mostly full-time on the software development. And I have a programming background, but no web development background, so I have no idea what the hell I'm doing when it comes to web development. And then the other 3 are 3 university students, and at least 2, maybe all 3, don't come from a computing background and are all current university students still. So me and the other guy here are the only ones that are actually on this full time, and the other 3 are part-time university students that are balancing, like, some of their final years of university that they're busy with, without even having, like, a major background in computing science. And it's like, is this really the team to make a full new website for examinations for a big university here? Does this really work out? No, it's not the same one. It's not the same one. There is a different one. One that's mainly based around, like, online classes. One that I've heard about many times, but I haven't gone to school there, no. Different one. But, yeah, so it was a little bit ragtag. And everyone on the team is, like, a super smart person, can, like, put their head at things and figure it out. But nobody has the foundational knowledge to be able to look at and be like, yeah, I understand exactly what's going on here, and get in there and fix it. That is not really a thing there. So, like, I'm not gonna insult anyone on the team. Everyone is, like, you know, very smart and good figure-outers, and I have full respect for, like, everyone on the team. Oh, nice crit. But no one's coming into this with, like, foundational knowledge of how this works, where they can look at the code and be like, yep, I get it. Let's get in there and get it done. Everybody has to use AI to make headway on this project. So everyone has, like, their own chatbots that they talk to. I think a lot of us use Gemini right now. I think a couple of us use Claude. Just to be able to understand and do things that we gotta do on this project. Because we don't have the foundational knowledge to be able to go and do it otherwise. And, yeah, and that's what you have to do, essentially. Here, go ahead and do this. So that's how I've been making headway. So this site is mostly written in JavaScript because that's, I mean, what you do for web interfaces. I thought I had experience in JavaScript because I have lots of experience in Java. Turns out I didn't, but ooh, that's pretty good. But you know, I know lots of programming languages and I have a lot of experience with Java, so it's not that much more to figure out. But is a little bit of craziness. I've never worked with, like, this kind of crazy back-end stuff, like figuring out this stuff is gonna save on this web page and it needs to properly load on this other web page. It's been, like, one of my big tasks that I've had to figure out across, like, multiple elements, and I have sort of figured out with the help of my my best Italian friend, ChatGPT. But yeah, so my boss on the programming side, the brother of my real estate boss, he yeah, Italian friend, ChatGPT. You know, best Italian friend. Turns out that he doesn't want to be involved with this field anymore, and I think it was February, I found out that he was planning on leaving completely in like 3 weeks, and leaving it to me working full-time and 3 university students doing it on the side to finish this project. And I was like, what? There's no freaking way, especially looking at it the way that is right now with you know, it's still very bare bones. Like, we're getting there and fleshing out a UI. We're focusing on functionality first. But I was like, there's no freaking way. How is this gonna happen? And like, the role of project manager is kind of slowly being handed off to one of the university students. And I might just have to wait here because my main guy to get in is a little bit preoccupied. And to show how in the dark I was... Oh yeah, I'm not doing the support here. To further explain how in the dark I was, I just knew that we were working on a new web front for this university. I just thought it was a general web front. I didn't know that it was for their exams in particular until like 2 months in, when I started using my best Italian friend ChatGPT to do some research and be like, hey, what is this university currently using for like their online school front? And turns out they're using a very different software for like their general online school front, and are only using our system for exams, and that's it. And part of me was wondering, like, what's to stop them from just using the system they're currently using for their exams as well? Like, and I think a lot of it comes down to like security and proctoring and all that. But and I was really wondering that, and I had to like take that to our development group chat and be like, hey, what the hell are we building and why? Are we developing like an actual product that is going to compete with like these other like big powerhouses in the learning space? Or are we just making something that's like the road of least resistance because it's easier for them to get an upgrade to their current system rather than like switching everything over and all their info to a new system? Like, what are we actually making here? And it was only after 2 months of working on this that I even found out that we were upgrading a prior system and was like shown it. I was like, what? There's an original one that we're building this off of? Like, can I see it? I was never shown it. So you would have thought that when I first started on this project, they would have been like, yeah, this is the site that we're upgrading. This is what it currently looks like. This is what it's going to be based off of. That had never happened for me. So I was just operating in the dark, working on like this editor. And I'd even ask like my boss on that side, like, what is this supposed to look like? What is it I'm developing here? And his response would be, I don't know, what do you think it should look like, Jake? I'm like, what do you mean, what do I think I should look like? Or what do you mean, what do I think it should look like? I have no background on this. I don't know what we're developing here. I only found out like a month and a half after that we were upgrading an existing system. So I'm adding all these things into the editor. And I'm told later, like, oh yeah, it should probably look something more like our original one. I'm like, what do you mean original one? And I don't have any login credentials for like the current system to be able to look at it for reference. So I only got to see it off of like a Google Meet briefly, because I demanded to see it off of a Google Meet. I was like, hey, can someone actually show me this? Because I have no idea what the hell I'm developing. So there's no mentorship, there's no guidance. It's just go in and figure it the hell out. So if it was something like that for game development, I'd probably be like, yeah, okay, I can get in there and figure it out. But in web development that I have no experience in, get in there and figure it out with no mentorship and no real guidance is like, what the heck? And the university student that's kind of taking over the project manager role, kind of transitioning into it, has told me like, yeah, just ask him questions all the time for what he wants, so that you don't like program yourself in a direction that he doesn't like, because he is unclear. He very much acknowledged that too. So that's what I've started doing, is my boss on that side, I've started just asking questions all the time. Does this look good? Does this look good? Does this look good? As I develop every little thing. Because there's no follow-up with me otherwise, and there's no like specifications or docs for I want you to make this or I want you to make this. So essentially I just make shit and then I ask him, does this look good? How should I change it? Which is kind of putting the carriage before the horse in a way, and is a little bit of a backwards way of development. And I really kind of wish that I actually had like proper mentorship that, you know, brought me into this. And my boss on this side just tells me like, ask questions. If there's anything that you don't understand, ask questions. I don't know what questions to ask because I don't have foundational knowledge. And there'll be so many instances where I don't even think I have to ask a question. I'll be like, okay, I can do this well enough, and then I make it, and then I'll end up hearing back like, no, that's wrong, do it a different way. It's like, okay, I didn't know that! I wouldn't have guessed that. So, you know, I'm kind of losing my mind here because, again, I don't have the foundational knowledge, so I don't feel like I'm problem solving myself. So to be able to make headway in this at all, my workflow has become relying on LLMs. Gemini has been my main one lately, to be able to just like give it a section of code, say, this is what I'm trying to make, what do I have to do to make that happen? And then it gives me potential solutions, which often are not the solution, but get me a little inch further and I'll see like what errors it made. Like, AI is really good for like small projects right now. It's not good for massive, large-scale projects, and it doesn't have like a great memory for everything that you've worked on before. So, you know, it kind of inches me forward, and it's more of like the AI is the programmer and I'm the bug fixer, which is not the way I want to grow as a programmer. I want to like actually be able to grow and like advance my programming knowledge, and I feel like I'm not getting that right now. Like, I guess I could probably look at the code and like parse it out and figure it out, but then I'd be there all day and be making no headway. So to make headway at all, I basically just ask AI, throw shit at the wall until something works, and then when something works, have it explain it to me step by step. And then it's like, okay, I think that sort of makes sense. I don't know if I quite firmly grasp it. I keep on having to ask it like the same questions over and over. And then stuff does like slowly sink in, like I'm starting to slowly get it. But I'm flying by the seat of my pants here trying to make any headway in a field I have programming background in, but no web development background in, and I'm like losing my mind here. I'm learning about all these things that I didn't even know existed before, like AWS, Amazon Web Services. Did you have any idea that's how Amazon makes the most of its money, is AWS? Not their online store. And that's one of the reasons why they can afford to make everything on their online store so dang cheap, is because they make freaking shit tons of money off of AWS. And I was like, how the hell have I never heard of AWS before? But we work with the AWS, for example, and luckily I don't have to learn anything about AWS much. One of our guys is kind of the AWS guy. But, you know, I'm using Docker, which is a program that lets you run Linux containers in your desktop. Because to run our code, we need to use Linux, we can't use Windows. So we instantiate like these little Linux containers to run a tiny little instance of Linux that like run our database, so that we can database and code base and all this stuff and all these things I don't quite understand. Like, I got it set up on my computer twice now across 2 computers, just by like, again, using AI, throwing shit at the wall until it worked, and like these code bases were set up, databases and all that, to use our little test website. And if you ask me to do it again, I have no idea how to repeat it. Not a clue. I'd have to rely on AI again. Maybe I should have made like actual documentation while I did it. Didn't think I'd have to do it again. But it is a process. My God. Level up. Wow. Damn you, game. But yeah, Chef told me like, to don't overcomplicate things and don't assume things either. Always ask questions. Yeah, that's what I try to do with my job, but I don't know what questions to ask. It told me that like a bazillion times yesterday because I made too many assumptions and guesses off trying to think how they think. Yeah. Yeah, I get you there. Even as the full goal of the overall project, like what's the end goal? Make the software that this university will use for their examinations. And then when that's done, make another offshoot off of it that the e-learning boss can use for math camps and e-learning processes, is what the goal is. So this university is still using like our old 15-year-old software that's rinky-dink and like falling apart and super aged. It's to give them a new shiny software that might not be quite as robust or in-depth as like some of the competitors out there. But hey, it's easier for them because then not really, but it's as soon as possible, essentially. Like, as soon as it can get done, the better, is what it is. Here, let's have a little bit of a talk. You're a Grotto soldier? Oh, you're just a child.
I'm not a child. I'm a soldier of Grotto, and I will defeat every soldier of Frelia I meet.
Is that so? But we do want sooner rather than later, so they don't decide to, like, give up on us and be like, yeah, we're not gonna be your customer anymore. We're gonna go with someone else, you know, because we're, kind of not in the best state for things right now. That's so. Guess I'm ready then. We were supposed to do a presentation to them, like, a month ago about what we had so far, and I was kind of the one dissenter that was like, we present what we have right now. They're not gonna want to keep us on. Is that the stance you're going to use? I'll drop your lance that way. Prince Ephraim of Renee, why don't you surrender and come with me?
What are you going to do to me?
Calm down. As long as you don't try to stab me, I won't do a thing to harm you.
You lie. You're a liar. Everyone knows about Prince Ephraim of Renee. He's a beast who attacks any woman he sees.
Right, this has gone far enough. I'm not going to hurt you. If you're scared, throw down your weapon and run away. But if you're willing to listen, I'd like to ask for your help. You must realize this whole war is madness, right? Something is wrong in Grotto.
I'm...
Oh, well, she's with me now. Oops. As long as you're making progress, though, and you aren't, like, dead stuck. Yeah, I'm not dead stuck. I am making progress bit by bit. But I don't have a full grasp on the progress I'm making, is the problem. Thank God for Gemini, yeah. If it wasn't for LLMs, if this is what they presented me with after the education I got in university, I would have been like, this is not my alley. I can do it if you give me mentorship. You don't give me mentorship, I can't do anything here. Well, I would be able to really, really slowly just do it the way everyone did it before LLMs. Lots of Google and lots of Stack Overflow and copying code until something works. That was the old way. That was the way I spent most of my university years. But nowadays, in the wake of LLMs and AI, we have different means to go about this now. And once you get the hang of it, you'll probably get more efficient with it. Maybe. I am definitely better at it than when I first started. I'm not coming home as completely drained as I was in the beginning. Like, I would just get home, like, so tired. I barely have any energy for streaming. I just want to, like, pass out. And I had such little grasp on how the hell this worked. And was told, like, I was told by my boss during that renewal there, like, you know, prove yourself with this software engineering stuff and we'll see how much of an asset to the company you become. And then we'll revisit, like, the talk of renewing your contract and giving you that raise that you want. So, you know, I really wanted to prove myself and show that, like, I can actually make headway here. So especially in the beginning when I barely understood anything, I would leave my computer on at work. Like, I would just turn off the monitor and leave my computer on so I could get home, remote into my computer at work from this computer here, and I would keep on working on the codebase just so I could, like, understand it better. And, like, I would get, because I don't feel like I'm problem solving myself, I'm getting so mentally drained because it feels like my brain isn't being engaged by problem solving in a way that I would be able to in, like, code that I'm more familiar with, or I helped engineer in the first place. I'm picking up off of, like, someone else's work part way here, you know, picking up where they left off in a field that I don't understand at all. So I'm just throwing ideas at the wall using AI and then having it explain it to me and just trying to absorb knowledge as best I can. So instead of, like, 8 hours of me putting my head at something and problem solving using my own skills, I feel like I'm sitting in an 8-hour university lecture where I'm just trying to absorb as best I can. And so I just get so completely drained, especially in the beginning. Like, it's been getting better as I've been getting more and more familiar with it, but especially in the beginning working on this code base in January there, I would just have spans where I'm just staring at the screen blankly, just completely at a loss of, like, what the hell do I do? And, like, my brain just shuts down because it's on overload. So I just sit there staring at the screen doing nothing until I eventually, like, muster up enough RAM in my brain to be able to go at it again. And then I feel like I'm losing hours during work, wasting time there, so I come home and I remote into my computer at work, and I keep on going at it, and I drain myself even more. I work from home, like, I work at work all day, so I can come home and work from home, and then get some sleep, so I can go back to work and work all day. So I was doing that in the early phase a lot, was working from home by turning off my monitor at work and just remoting in and continuing at it, trying to make up some of my lost time at work itself, and trying to like look into different lessons and stuff like that to learn full stack development and understand what the heck is going on there. But you know, if I'm sitting staring at this code base trying to absorb for 8 hours, and then I come home and I try to like truly process and absorb some YouTube video that's explaining things step by step, I can't. My brain is off by then. Like, so I couldn't even absorb there. And plus, like, all the life stuff I have going on nowadays that's making it kind of difficult to do a lot of other things here. And I really quite struggled. So I started trying to do a lot of learning on my own time early on. I've kind of stopped doing that as much because my brain shuts off by the end of the workday there. And with workdays alone, it has been getting better as it's been going on. But I feel like I still don't have, like, a firm grasp on the how the heck does this work part. Like, in the nitty-gritty, like, how does it actually work high level at its core? I still don't quite understand that. Nice crit. But, like, I am slowly getting a bit of a grasp of my own bubble. And my own bubble on the code base, I'm probably the one on the team that understands it the best at this point, since, you know, I've been working at this little bubble for so long. But, yeah, it's been a lot on me. And, to the point that with, like, the amount of stress that I was taking on, just coming home so completely drained each day and just feeling like so hopeless at my skills of seeing it through. I was debating about just quitting at the end of March, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was debating about not even asking for my contract to be renewed. I was thinking about, should I just let it end at the end of March? Is what I seriously debated for a while. But this isn't something you really don't want to know or something you'll need to know in the long term for future jobs you want to apply to, right? Well, that's one of the things I was debating. Like, would you say this knowledge you gain from doing this is worth knowing? Would you say it's worthless in the long run? It's definitely valuable, and it is a very desired position. If you're a senior full-stack developer at a company, that's how you make some really big bucks. So, I was questioning to myself, do I stay or do I go? From the perspective of, I'm genuinely losing my mind at this job. Do I seek something else where I can, you know, not be losing my mind and potentially get, like, better pay and actually get benefits? But in this world that we live in now with, like, LLMs and AI here, how easy is it to even find junior level computing jobs? It's kind of drying up. And so there's going to be a very high demand for senior developers in, like, the next 10 to 20 years because there's such a lack of junior level jobs now. So because all these companies are not hiring for junior level jobs, there's going to be a severe lack of senior developers in the future because the senior developers of the future are not being trained today, is the case. Yeah, there is a convention center, and they do like some job fair like things, and I will be looking into different stuff here. And part of me has also been questioning, like, hey, at what other job am I going to be you know, able to get this experience? And so, you know, I was talking with my boss about that halfway through March. The topic of contract renewal came up again. And I was like, hey, I've been committing to this side of the software engineering side of the company. I can keep on doing what I'm doing right now and, you know, be slowly making headway here, essentially. But, oh, color change time. And, you know, I'll keep on doing what I can. Are you interested in keeping me on? And, you know, can I finally see about that pay increase that you said I'd get after 3 months, didn't give me, and we're now saying that I'd get after, like, this span of time, after, like, working close to 3 more months here. So I've been at the company half a year now, and after each set of 3 months, I was supposed to get a pay increase. Let's see. Let's color change. So I revisited that. I was like, hey, you know, I'm struggling here, but I'm figuring it out. I'm making headway. I'm contributing to your software development side. Like, you wanted to see if I could. Like, I've proven that I'm capable of contributing there. Do you want to keep me on? And am I going to get that pay raise that you promised me twice? And, so I talked to him about that. He had a bit of a different idea in mind. The goalpost kind of got shifted a bit again. Where's my gold filter here? Crap. boxes, don't I? Have a look-see here. Is the gold back here? Nope. Is the gold... Oh, it's right here. I'm silly. A little bit organized. Don't mind me. I'll continue story time in a second. I'm running out of gold. I think I got a refill recently. I should have more. It'll be enough for this anyway. Okay. Give me my... Where are my flyers? Oh, right here. Let's see here. So when we visited the topic of pay before, what I had asked for was $25 an hour. That was what I was earning at my last job. That's what I was kind of hoping to earn here, at least, for me to stick around. Like, that was my kind of minimum to really want to stick around. So I revisited that. I was like, hey, you said when we renewed a few months ago that things were really tight there, but, you know, stay on for just a twiddly-wink more, and then we'll see what we can do. And he told me at the time, like, 25, yeah, we can make that happen. Like, that's okay there, but just, you know, stay on for a few more months here. Like, okay, well, let's see here. When I revisited earlier this month, that was when he asked me, can you become, like, the front-end guy? You know how there's always, like, a guy on each project? You're working on, like, the content editor for the website here, which has gotta be, like, the hardest part anyway, like, the most technical. Can you become our front-end guy? So he phrased it in that way, but what he was asking me to do was to become the senior front-end dev. I literally only just graduated university not too long ago, and I'm going to my first programming position. And he's asking me to become the senior dev on an extremely large and important project for, you know, a very high-profile customer, one of the biggest universities in the whole city. And I was already struggling with my own bubble enough as is. Well, that was where that came in. He didn't mention pay. I had to be the one to bring it up. And I was like, you know, I am really not entirely confident, even with what I'm working on right now. I don't think I can rise to the role of, you know, becoming, you know, the entire front-end guy. The guy that handles, like, the entire customer-facing interface of the whole website. Like, I don't think I could do that. And, so I had to be the one to bring up pay. And I was like, hey, told me twice now that if you decide to keep me on, you could increase me to, at least 25 an hour. And so I asked about that, and the ultimatum that he essentially gave me was, you know what, you become our front-end guy, we can do that 25 an hour. So, 25 Canadian dollars an hour with no benefits to become the senior front-end dev with no real experience on this massive scale project for one of the biggest universities in the city, when that is kind of, generally speaking, the minimum wage that you would see for a junior programmer in, like, any other computing position out there. Like, you look for junior programmers, and the pay range is typically around, like, 25 to 35-ish, is what it is. So, he's asking for, like, bare minimum junior programmer wages for a senior front-end developer. With no benefits. Which is a bit much of an ask, even if I was confident in it. That's a bit much to be asking for a bit little, in my opinion. I mean, they are definitely very frugal at the company there, that's no secret. So, you know, I'd hoped from the beginning, like, hey, I stick around long enough, I'll at least go up to 25 an hour. And then the deal was essentially like, hey, you take on, like, this super massive role, and then we'll do the 25 an hour. He didn't say that if I didn't take it, I'd stay at 20, but, you know, that was very heavily implied there. Like, become the front-end guy, 25 an hour. You know, the same wage that I used to make for reading numbers on a piece of paper and entering them into the computer with data entry with my last job. I made 25 an hour at that job there. now I'm planning on sticking around until I find another job. But yeah, I thought about it over the weekend. I thought about, like, hey, like, over that weekend there where he was like, hey, we gotta know because we're hiring more people on, because I kind of raised a lot of hell about this project not really being sustainable the way that we were taking it. And so that kind of got my boss on the real estate side to actually look into it and, you know, talk with his brother and figure out, oh yeah, this is going in a little bit of a troubled direction here. We do need to hire more people. So I do attribute one of the bigger reasons for them hiring more people on to be me being like the one person on our team of 5 that actually raised hell about, hey, this is not gonna work out like this. Something needs to change here. So they hired 3 new people, and you know that, and yeah, he wanted me to be the new front end guy essentially, but he wanted an answer fast because they wanted to know like how many people they needed to hire and like what kind of roles they needed to fill, and he wanted me to fill the front end role completely. And I was like, no. Of course, like, even with my lack of experience, it would be a completely different deal if they were actually paying me, like, a shit ton of money or something like that. Like, if I was actually making, like, big bucks at this job, I would be like, you know what? I don't know this. Tell you what, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna get it figured out. But that's not the case. So, you know, my motivation is not exactly high. None have left since I first got hired. But it's an extremely small company. Our staff size is like less than 10. So it's now going to be more than 10. Now with all the new people being brought on. So that's going to be a bit of a change of pace. Yeah, but like I said, the only people that were on were the programming boss that wanted to leave in 3 weeks, me working full-time, and then 3 university students that were just doing it on the side in addition to their school as, like, you know, some side income. So, you know, there hasn't been anybody in my position of doing it full-time since getting on here. There will be starting Tuesday. So, we'll see how if our new hires decide to stay on long-term, or if they start feeling similar things that I'm feeling. So there'll be 3 people in a similar position as I am, where they're working full-time. So, time will tell here. You know? Here, just slow and steady here. No major rush. So it doesn't surprise me too much that no one's left or anything. But yeah, so that was essentially the ultimatum that I got, is we'll give you 25 an hour if you become our senior front-end dev. Otherwise, you're, you know, sticking with this. Another one of the things that I had brought to that renewal talk is I had told my boss that since I'm struggling as much with this as I am, and I find myself, like, struggling to continue to stay focused on it when it's so unfamiliar to me, I like having other things going on that keep me engaged, that I can go and do for a little while and then come back. Like, during the winter, it snowed a whole lot, and I would go out and shovel the parking lot. So, you know, I'm working on, like, this code base. I would be really thankful when it snowed, because I was like, oh, a distraction from the coding! Grab a snow shovel, go out in the freezing cold, and shovel the snow. And then I come back in, and then I can focus on the code better, because now my brain has had a distraction. So, like, I really appreciate distractions like that. And so I told him, like, hey, you know, I'm committing basically 95% to the programming side, 5% to the real estate side, just when they need me. If I can go back to, like, doing some more stuff with the real estate side, like, actually do a split, that would engage my brain better, because then I'm jumping across different things, and I can, like, focus a bit better, because what I'm doing is actively changing. And during that January talk, that was another thing that he had told me, was, like, hey, like, commit to the software engineering side for, like, the next couple months up until the end of March, and, you know, we'll see, like, how good you are at it, and if you fit into the role there. And from there, after we both get a sense for, like, how up your alley this is, then we can talk about, like, changing your split to whatever the heck. Is it going to be, like, 50-50, the real estate side and the programming side? Is it going to be, like, 60-40, 80-20, or just 100% one side, or what's going to be the case? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll keep on committing to the programming 100%, and then we'll revisit there. So the 2 things that I'd wanted were raise, and I wanted a better split. I wanted to not be completely on the programming side, because I've been slowly losing my mind over it. At least it's sleep and not berserk. Please miss, though. So that was another thing that I brought up. And that was another thing that I couldn't get, that the goalpost was shifted on. He had told, like, it really sounded like he wanted all hands on deck for the programming side there. He essentially told me, like, hey, either become our front-end guy and commit 100% to like the programming side, or you're done with programming, is essentially the way that he phrased it. Since I turned him down and I'm still working on the programming side, it seems like that, you know, wasn't really the case there, but that was the impression I got from what he was telling me. Is it sounded like, become our front-end guy, or bust. Since it seems like it's become, stay on the programming side 100%, or 95%, again, help with real estate and like emergencies and stuff. Or go to like the real estate side, and, you know, it's fully commit to that and be off the programming team, like not be a part of that anymore. So I was told in the very beginning, stay on for 3 months and I'll get a raise past the 20 / become a proper employee instead of just a contract worker. That turned out to not be the case. And then on the second renewal, it was like, stay at this lower wage and, you know, commit to the programming side, and then we can negotiate increase in salary and a split across the two sides of the company. Split across the two sides of the company, forget about it when the time came, and raise only if you become like the head honcho, the guy for the entire front end. I was like, what the hell? So the goalpost has continued to be moved a couple times, and when it comes to my boss negotiating like what's gonna be in it for me in the future, I genuinely don't think I can trust him anymore. Like, I'm at the point where like the trust is just broken. I can't. Like, even if he says, like, hey, it's gonna be raised up to, like, this crazy amount coming up here, I don't trust him anymore. I don't dislike him or anything. I don't dislike anyone at the company. Everyone's hard workers and, like, people that I do respect and nice enough people. But in terms of, like, finding ways to get work the cheapest there, he definitely has his ways. And I don't trust him looking out for my best interest. I have to look out for my best interest. So, that's what I've kind of decided there. So, yeah. Let's see here. Surprised that at least he didn't just fire you or let you go straight up for not knowing so much of the stuff they ask you to do. Well, that's everybody on the project so far, outside of, like, his brother that's been supporting it for the past 15 years here. Like, everyone on the project is flying by the seat of their pants, because they're cheap part-time students. So, the impression I've gotten from this project is not thorough. It's not quality. It's just good enough so that it can be made cheaply. Like, even with hiring new people, the goal was, like, who's, like, also probably freshly out of university, so they're not going to be that expensive, they can work for cheap, but they really, really know what they're doing. And finding that combination is kind of really hard to find. So, I don't know what the new hires are being paid here, if they're 20 an hour as well, or if they're more than I am. Some of them are definitely more qualified than I am. Like, one graduated with her master's, for example. But one of them comes from a very similar background that I did. And I wonder, like, is his skill level around the same as mine? And if so, like, what does that look like for working here? I don't know, guess we'll find out. Guess we'll, see here. Some stuff that I never knew I'm still figuring out. That they know, they just chuckle and roll their eyes at me and kind of make fun of me for it. But like, dude, I haven't worked in a kitchen as long as you. Of course I'm not going to be as experienced, as knowledgeable as you. Yeah, and, like, I say that to my boss on both sides, like my programming boss and my real estate boss. And the answer from both of them is like, just ask LLMs, just ask ChatGPT, just ask Gemini. They'll explain it all for you. Yeah, if this was a really simple system, that'd be one thing, but this is a very complicated system. It's like if I had no experience in automotive and went to go work in a mechanic shop, and we had this one engine over here, and we have all these bits and pieces, and the goal is build this engine, but better and modern. And I don't know the first thing about building an engine. And my boss's answer is like, just ask ChatGPT, just ask Gemini, it'll explain it to you. It's like, can I build an engine from what it explains to me? Yeah, sure, I guess. Is it an engine I'd ever want to use in my vehicle? Hell no! So why should this university want to use it? This is kind of the argument that I've been making. And one of the reasons why they actually went around to, like, hiring new people. Because of the hell I was raising about, like, hey, this project is not going to work as is. And that's always the answer. And so talking about my boss with me not wanting to, like, rise to the role of senior front-end dev, I was really quite surprised when he was asking me, like, I just don't understand why you don't want to rise to more responsibility. Like, is it a personality thing? Like, I was really quite surprised when he said that, kind of implying that it was, like, an inherent laziness thing / me not wanting to, you know, be more responsible for things. He was kind of gaslighting me, I'm gonna be honest with you. And, you know, I say, you know, I don't understand these things. He's like, just ask AI. That's always the answer there. And I say, I'm not familiar enough with it. I don't want to take on that much responsibility. And, you know, he essentially blames, he just says, just ask AI. And if I don't want to do it, then the reason is my work ethic in some way. When that's not at all the case. Like, I'm a very highly motivated person to get things done that I'm passionate about, that I believe in, that I have, like, proper guidance through. And I just don't. And especially with, like, the programming side boss that, he's never directly mean or anything, but he's a bit passive-aggressive and, you know, makes a lot of kind of snarky in a lot of ways. Like, just the other day here, one of the university students that I'm working with was in at the office and was asking him, like, some questions about where you find certain things on the web front. And he's like, oh, you do this step, you do this step, you do this step, and then here it is all laid out. I'm like, what the heck was even that? I didn't understand any of that. And then he just says, I don't really understand why you had to ask that question when it's so easy to find. Like, clearly it's not. It's like, okay, like, come on, can we maybe not be so, snarky there? So his original plan was to leave in, like, 3 weeks and leave it to the rest of us to figure out. I'm the one that was like, this is not gonna happen being left to just us. We gotta get, like, more people on here. And now the plan has shifted to, he's gonna be slowly easing out of it for the next 2 months. He's the most familiar with this university and what they want. So for the next 2 months, this one university student will be slowly taking over the project management role and will be consulting him, like the boss there, for the next 2 months. Essentially treating him like the customer. He's the one that understands the university the best. Run ideas by him. Ask him as the customer what he wants from the system and make the system accordingly. While he kind of steps down and leaves it to the rest of us to, like, slowly figure out here. That's what's going on now. So that's the new approach that we're taking, which is a lot better than the old approach. Like, it's definitely going in a bit of a better direction than before. But it's really going to come down to what things end up looking like with the 3 new hires here. And how much they're able to pick up and figure out here. And if they can do it a whole lot faster than I can. Thank goodness that's missing. Because, my god. So, yeah. Trust is the biggest thing when it comes to having a coworker and boss relationship. Absolutely agree. Yeah, you want programming since with computers and you took computer science, right? Or was it game design? Both. I was doing programming primarily focused around game design. So, like, all the things I was programming in university were video games. But I can generally go into programming positions because, like, it's know-how that I have. Back when I started university and the world was like, oh yeah, everyone's always looking for computing positions. That's like one of the safest things that you can go into for an education. Everyone always needs computer people. What a joke nowadays with AI and LLMs and stuff here. I should just keep on saying LLMs. Like, AI is so much more applicable to more things than LLMs. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, it's LLMs. That's what I'll refer to it as. But everyone else refers to it as AI, so I start thinking about it in my head as AI, but you know, it's a specific kind of AI. It's LLMs. Anyway, point is, I went and studied computing science, focused on game design, being like, hey, maybe I can focus on making games one day, but if not, everyone's always looking for computer people. It's a safe option to go into. Not anymore. Not today. It's, now the big thing is the trades, I feel like. That's the, I probably don't need this here. I'll just, yeah. I feel like trades is the new big thing. Trades is the new computing science that everyone wants. Yeah, I guess I didn't have to worry about any thieves coming out here or anything like that. Okay, let's get schmoving here. Can't quite get there yet. Let's get schmoving on down here. But yeah, let's see here. Don't tell him things he would just... Well, it's like I said earlier. Like, why would you... Oh god, I gotta scroll up now. I won't slide to my chef, but sometimes the things I tell him, he just... Well, it's like I said earlier. Like, why would you even give me that reaction? I'm trying my hardest here to learn. Yeah, and they should recognize that, you know, you're asking because you want to learn here. Also, I got written up once for a simple misunderstanding. Apparently, I thought that my banquet chef said we could leave once we were done, and I left once we were done, but apparently that day I didn't check out with the other chefs, and I had some stuff for me to do even though I'm part of the banquet team. So a bit of miscommunication there, it sounds like. The other days before, I checked out with the other chefs before leaving, because the banquet chef would have already left himself, so I wouldn't even get to ask him. So, like, I brought that up with them, that, okay, I checked out plenty of times before because I'm trying to be a good employee, but the one day I don't check out with every chef, I get in trouble. Like, now that I've been checking in with every single chef every single day before leaving, and they're starting to get annoyed. Yeah, well, if that's what they want from you, that's on them then. And then literally asked me and said, you know, I'm probably just going to give you more work every time you come and check out with me before leaving. But I'm like, what the hell? You guys wrote me up because I didn't check out with all three of you guys. Now you're contradicting what you're saying. They told me they forgot. Like, are you serious? They know that I'm trying to take my job way more seriously. I'm the one that gets in trouble for such a simple mistake. No, don't worry about it. I don't mind there. But yeah, sounds like a whole lot of miscommunication, but it sounds kind of like my boss on the programming side, where there's a specific idea, and if you don't mind read and get that idea, or specifically ask him every time, then there's gonna be trouble. Or you ask him too much and he's gonna be bothered. Like he was with the one guy the other day where, you know, he tells everyone, like, ask questions, I want you to understand. Like, if you don't understand, just ask questions. And he asked this question and he got chastised for it. Like, I don't understand why you ask that question when it's so easy to find. It's like, okay, do you want people to ask questions or not? Like, really? I was a bit unimpressed by that comment, you know. Oh, hell yeah, they all missed. Thank goodness. The employees get so lazy and laugh all the time and don't take their work seriously, but yeah, I'm getting attacked. That's kind of how it, whoops, goes in the world sometimes. I was not clicked on the game. I did Shift F7 on the chat there, and I just brought up the inspector. I went right to the style editor. Something that I've actually needed to use during work a decent bit to figure out what the hell is going on in these web pages I'm programming. Here, do this. I'm not doubling you because you're a fast Myrmidon. Please don't crit me when it's your turn. That would kind of suck. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So no one's like a super dick or anything like that where I work. Like everyone I generally get along with. My programming boss, sometimes I'm a little iffy on. Yeah, let's see here. Just do this, I guess. I won't be able to take you out unless I get a crit here. And, you know, when I first got that basically ultimatum, become our front-end guy or be off of things, I did give it a lot of serious thought that weekend. My boss wanted an answer by the following week. And I had weighed my options, like, do I keep on, like, stressing myself out and losing my mind and not earning all that much? But is this my one opportunity to gain the experience I need to actually become a senior dev one day, when these freaking programming jobs are so dang hard to find in today's day and age, so in demand, any one position will have hundreds of applicants? Am I missing my one golden opportunity here? Or do I go into a position that actually gives me, like, pay and benefits, supports me longer term that way, and, like, gives me, like, proper mentorship and actually starts me at a true junior level, assuming that I don't know a whole lot, and actually, you know, have senior devs that can show me the ropes and, like, give me guidance and stuff like that here. And I was kind of framing it in my mind, like, maybe this one job is my one chance to be able to rise to the role of senior dev one day. But I gave it a lot of thought, and I thought, is my current workflow and what I'm doing genuinely something that's gonna lead me to become a successful senior dev one day? Because like I said, I have to rely on AI to get anywhere. I'm barely using my own problem solving skills, and I'm disassociating because of that. So I feel like I'm not actually building up good skills. I'm not building up, like, good practices here. I'm still building up skills. I'm building up skills of how to band-aid an existing system really well. I'm learning how to scrape by in the midst of, like, a super crazy environment and figure things out well enough that I can get by, which is still a useful skill. But am I actually learning how to become, like, a well-experienced front-end / just full-stack developer? No. And I feel like, you know, I stay here, I might just keep on building up bad habits, and that might end up hurting me more in the long run. Even if I could put something like senior front-end dev on my resume, that would look, like, really good. Would I go into a job and then just be half-assed because the only experience I would have had before would have been band-aiding a system, rather than actually being able to develop a whole system from the ground up? So, I eventually decide, like, for my long-term growth, I should find something that eases me into it, both for, like, experience and building up, like, actual good habits and practices and being able to grow my skills as a developer in a better way. And, of course, pay and benefits. And I guess a third tertiary reason, not feeling like any time that I'm told that stay on for this long and you'll get X thing, like I'm gonna be lied to anytime I hear anything like that and can't take it seriously, you know? So those 3 reasons are why I wanted to move on there. So, on talking about contract renewal with my boss, that's what I said. That's what I told him. Is like, hey, I'm not rising to this role like you want me to. I don't get the pay increase, then whatever at this point. But I am actively seeking other opportunities because I do want to seek out like a true junior programming position where I can grow in it. During the talk last week about that, he kind of tried to gaslight me into believing that isn't a thing that exists. Like, you won't find that anywhere. I was like, well, man, I'm sure I probably can. So, you know, he gave me this last weekend to just, you know, think things over and, you know, decide for sure. So I just told him, matter of fact, I'm not becoming your senior front-end developer. I'm not taking on that responsibility. I'm actively seeking other opportunities because that's what I want to find, is something that I can actually grow into. So I don't know how long I'm going to be here because I'm seeking better opportunities right now. And I'll be here while I can. I'll keep on doing what I can. Like, I'm not going to leave anybody hanging. I'm not going to throw a wrench into the works. Like, I'll still be giving my full effort and supporting the team and helping the new guys that are coming on. But I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be here long term, and I'm seeking out other opportunities. And he didn't fight me this time. He just accepted that. He didn't argue with me. He just said, okay, so for contract renewal, would you like to go month by month then? And I said, yeah, that'd be great. Just let me go month by month. And that was what we decided. But he's kind of busy doing contracts and a whole bunch of like year-end stuff and beginning of month stuff for the beginning of apartments when all these rents are coming in. So he asked me, are you okay with like us doing our contract like sometime next week? And I was like, yeah, sure. In terms of stuff like that, I trust him. But yeah, my contract expired March 31st. I've been working the past 2 days, April 1st and April 2nd. I haven't been employed or a contract worker for the past 2 days, and I've been working for them. But, you know, I'm logging my hours here, and I trust him to not dupe me out of that or anything. You know, that much I trust. It's just in terms of, like, pay and things that I, don't exactly trust there. Like, in terms of, like, my wage. So, I technically haven't been employed officially for 2 days now. Has been the case. I've just been coming in and working for fun, for the love of the sport, and trust that the hours that I work will be paid once he gets that contract drafted up. If somehow that isn't the case, then I'm gonna be monumentally pissed. But, no, I do trust him enough for, like, alright, yeah, I'm fine waiting on, like, the contract being made and the, you know, lots going on right now. I trust that, you know, my hours that I'm working right now, you'll make sure that I'm paid for that. Even if it's at the wage that I don't like too much, but he's not gonna bullshit me on that. So yeah, I'm seeking other opportunities. I've revised my resume with my current job. That's on there now, and I'm turning in resumes and cover letters all over the place. Back when I was really job hunting, I also used to use AI to like help write cover letters just so I could get quality over quantity. Or no, freaking both, I guess. Quantity over quality, but also, like, the quality will be better than anything I could write realistically anyway. Is what I kind of figured. But one of the things that I did at my job was, like, do the first pass on all these resumes that were coming in for these different positions. Of, just seeing who's local / willing to relocate and stuff. And, on going through 100+ resumes, a lot of which had cover letters, believe you me, I could tell which ones were AI. So now being on the other side and clearly being able to tell like who's turning in AI cover letters. I'm not doing that anymore, which means I'm not applying to jobs as fast because I'm actually writing out cover letters now, and it's not sounding as professional. But it might help me stand out in the sea of other resumes instead of sounding like as generic as all the other ones like I guess I was before. So, you know, that was a valuable lesson to learn there. So, yeah, I'm turning in lots of resumes and cover letters into all sorts of programming positions and, you know, even some web development positions, but junior web development positions I'm applying into. So, we'll see what comes of anything. Or who knows, maybe the work environment will become, like, so different and turn into something that I genuinely love when it's an actual office full of people. Because, you know, for the past while now, it's been me alone in the office half the time, and then 1 to 2 coworkers in like the other half of the time, going and working on like other real estate stuff, because everyone's always out on their rounds and going to different like buildings. But actually having an office full of programmers and stuff and people I can talk to, maybe that'll also stop me from going as bug-eyed and disassociating when I can actually, you know, look over and talk to people and stuff like that. You know, even with the new guy that started on the property management side yesterday, and like, you know, the university student that's becoming the new project manager for the programming side coming in and helping set up the past couple days, and us actually having like an office with lots of people and activity. Like, it's been like night and day. It hasn't been me on my own just like staring at a computer screen and slowly losing my mind. It's been like a busy, hectic office environment with like all sorts of people around me that I'm chatting to and stuff, and I'm not disassociating. So I don't know. But of course, for like growth, pay, and benefits, I still want to seek other opportunities. But hey, maybe coming up here, generally speaking, maybe I'll start liking my job more. We'll see. We'll see. See how I get along with these new people that start on Tuesday. Long weekend this weekend that I get to enjoy. So yeah, that's the work story. That's where I'm at. Now you're all up to date for the most part. Definitely look for places with benefits. Oh yeah, definitely am. This one might be like bigger corporations, like convention centers, for example. Yeah, I'm generally trying to look for bigger companies. Like, you know, smaller private companies like I'm looking for right now are generally going to be like very hectic, as I found out. And, you know, might not be able to support you as much, but like big stable corporations that, you know, actually have like growth paths, benefits, and like stability and stuff could be pretty nice, man. Find a way to protect you in a hot second. Advance my line forward here. I'll find a way to make this work. Yeah, I don't want to feel trapped either. Yeah, for sure. Especially if these people aren't being good enough teachers. Yeah, it's one guy that's, you know, kind of busy with a lot of other things and tells us to ask questions, and he asks questions and he seems not too impressed that we're asking questions. It's kind of the case. I mean, the chefs at my country club are good teachers too, but they're kind of snarky about it a bit too. Only initially, but when they see I'm serious, then they finally get serious and they actually help me learn too. That's good. I'll get this. They wrote up an employee review earlier this week for every employee, and I took a photo of mine, like an annual thing they do every year. I mean, hey, at least you also have a few extra things to add to the resume from the job you had here. From there. Yeah, like, it's already a great thing to add to my resume. Like, going fresh out of the university and just being a research assistant, doing some light computer stuff on the side. But now looking for programming jobs, being able to put software engineer on my resume, saying, hey, I literally have experience working in industry as a software engineer, making a product for this massive university that I can guarantee everyone in the city has heard of before. And people are going to be like, ooh, dang, that is a big, important project then. And you are a software developer on that? Okay, you've got to be pretty good. I hope. I don't know. Maybe people won't think that. But that is like a serious, big, beneficial thing to have on my resume. And it would be more beneficial if I worked there for longer. And hey, who knows? I'll be here until I find a new job, I guess. That'll be the case. I don't know. It's actually here they've been struggling lately with work, though. Definitely sounds like you need to change your workspace, though. Yeah. Definitely something that I would very much like. So, we'll see. I'm applying all over the place. We'll see if something pans out. But who knows, man? Who even knows? It's C's, right? Yeah, so I can grind support afterwards if I really want to. And I like... Yeah, sure. Kill him. Actually, when they interviewed you, did they ever ask any questions that relate to how to work with I had to figure out along the way? No. See their review page what they wrote down for me, too? Sure, I'll check it out later here. But that's a funny thing. All the programmers that are coming on now were interviewed to be programmers, like on this project, to be web developers. So to make sure that they were getting like people like actually qualified for the job, they've been asking like several programming questions, and they have them write programs during the job interview while it's being proctored. So like screen is being shared and you see like what they're programming. You see if they're asking, you know, ChatGPT or Gemini or anything along the way, and how much they're relying on them. So like the people that are coming on now actually had like very thorough testing interviews that were designed to be like very hard interviews that challenged them. You know, a lot of people coming on like didn't ace it perfectly. but the idea is that it challenges you, and you see how it, see how they navigate these challenging problems. But for me, when I was first brought on, it was a referral from my Taekwondo instructor, and it was initially just to help with the real estate side. So when I was brought on by like my real estate boss that is not at all involved in the programming side, he was interviewing me like, oh yeah, I'm seeing on your resume, like you have these experiences, you could definitely help us with the real estate side. And I see you have a bunch of programming experience. Maybe you can help with the programming side down the line. We'll see. But we're interviewing you for real estate stuff. So he was just interviewing me for real estate stuff. And like, he was asking me during the interview, like, some programming questions just in terms of like, so you have this experience, right? Yep. You have this experience, right? Yep. You have this experience, right? Yep. But the thing was, he was interviewing me for the real estate side and just seeing if like I was a good problem solver. Like, so he was asking me some technical questions like, what is the percentage of this happening in the case that the probability of this is this and the probability of this is this? And I just did some mental math and gave him the answer. And he's like, yep, you can do mental math. Good enough there. And I was brought onto the real estate side. And I did just real estate stuff for 3 months. I mean, I did programming for the real estate side. Like I said, my calendar program and my report generating program, which are like both pretty in-depth programs with lots and lots of lines of code. Like, I'm actually kind of proud of how they turned out, even if they're kind of bare bones prototypes, because I've been so busy with this freaking website that I haven't had time to flesh out my own programs that I made from the ground up, that I have a much better understanding of how they work. So yeah, he was interviewing me for the real estate side and being like, oh, I see you have programming. Maybe we can get you involved with the programming side later if it seems like it's up your alley. That's what my interview was. So all of a sudden, when they need help with this side and they're like, oh, let's get Jake on that and see what he can do, all of a sudden I'm thrown right into the grinder for something that I was never even interviewed on and something they never made sure I was even qualified for. And part of me wonders if it was a similar process for the university students on it. Like, I've asked some of these university students, like, hey, how did you get involved in this field? And the 2 of the 3 that I've asked both said, like, oh yeah, the big boss, the one that's like over the, e-learning stuff, but is also, the general big boss for the other things, even if he's not as involved with it. He's a math professor at the university that I went to school with. Like, I didn't take enough math classes to have him as my prof, but he's a math professor there. And these 2 university students said, oh yeah, I just, like, took his courses, and then one thing led to another, and then I got involved with, like, being an employee under him. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. So, yeah, so the other programmers on this project didn't have, like, these specific interviews either for, like, specific web development. They were just students of his class and then ended up getting involved after one thing led to another. Whereas for me, it was, I got hired onto the real estate side, and then one thing led to another. We need help with the programming side. Can you go help with that? Sure, I can try it. I'm an employee here. I'm a contractor here already anyway. Sure, I'll go take a crack at that next. Let's see what happens. Now you know what happened. And, yeah. So I think this might be, these 3 new people starting might be the first 3 people on this project at all that actually had, like, a formal interview geared around this project. Which is kind of saying something about the very kind of cursed format and direction things were being taken in before. So, yeah. Yeah. There's that. So, yeah. Looking for other work. I'll stay here for now. I'm hoping that things will turn around and become a little bit easier when I have an actual team that I can discuss things with. And it'll become a lot easier to not always have to ask AI when I have other people right to the side of me that I can run it by there really easily. Be like, hey, have you seen an issue like this before? I'm running into this specific error. That, I'm a little bit more hesitant to do online only with the programming side boss that seems a little bit bothered by it at times. Yeah. I'm actually trying to do my job and getting more work done than most people here. One of the Cook employees' catchphrases, take your time, what's the rush? Hey, got employee of the month for January, but yeah, I got fussed at several months ago for taking too long for certain stuff. I mean, I guess they just, have different sets of expectations, potentially. I don't know. But yeah, very much so. I had no idea what I was getting into. Very much. I just heard that there was some software development side to the company where they're working on something when I when I first came on. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what the scope of the project was. I had no idea who the customer was. It was, I went in kind of blind. I was just desperate for work. I found work, so there I was. So we'll see if I can find something else at some point here. I'm really hoping that a potential in I might have with AGLC pans out. AGLC is Alberta Gaming, Liquor, and Cannabis. So, you know, all the problematic things that people are involved in. Gaming, not meaning gaming like my background, gaming meaning gambling. Liquor, obviously liquor, alcohol, cannabis, weed. So like the highly addictive things that need to be regulated by the government. That's the government branch, AGLC, Alberta Gaming, Liquor, and Cannabis. Used to be Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission, but since weed became legalized, I guess it got changed to Alberta Gaming, Liquor, and Cannabis, so they could keep their same acronym of AGLC. I might have a potential in with them. There's a family friend out at the lake where we have a cabin at that works with the AGLC that's wanted to take me under his computing wing for a couple of years now, but has never been able to because everything is so dang slow in government. Oh, damn, I can't kill. Ooh, I can kill. Good job, Ross. Imagine that missed. And there's an IT position opening up. He told me that the job would be posted about 2 weeks from now. So I'm keeping an eye out for that. And not too bad, I guess. Especially when his skill doesn't go up too often. So I'm keeping an eye out for that. I gave him my resume just, like, for reference there. And, you know, once the actual job position is open, I'll let him know, like, hey, I turned in an application if you can put in a good word for me. So, I have all the qualifications for this IT position. I now have some really good experience under, like, this current job. And I have an internal reference. But computing and just computer-related jobs in general are so hard to get because they're so in demand. I'm going to be competing with probably 100 plus others that are turning in resumes. So it's still not like I'd for sure be able to get in. And who knows, with stuff with government here, it's not even a guarantee they're going to for sure post that. Who knows, maybe he told me that they're going to post it and it won't even end up being posted. Who knows. But, there's a good chance that gets posted. Maybe I have a decent in. It would be a decent bit of a drive to get out there each day. But, you know, it would be a government position. Extremely better pay. Lots of stability from being freaking government position. Benefits along with that. Be an actual junior role that eases me into it. And be something that I actually meet all the qualifications for. He sent me the job listing. Like, it hasn't been officially posted yet. You can't find it online yet. But he sent me the job description. I was reading it. I was like, yeah, I qualify for this. I have all the skills that are needed. I can do that. That would be fantastic, man. And I've even worked for AGLC a little bit in the past when I was working for an IT company that they had contracted IT work from. So I've even worked at some of their casino locations before. So, you know, there's that going for me too. So, I'm really, really hoping that the AGLC opportunity pans out. Because AGLC will be freaking fantastic. You know, that'd be awesome. But who knows? Man, you thought you could wreck Garcia with the Axe Reaver? Think again. Yeah, I'm gonna try to. So yeah, I hope that environment at my current job gets a bit better here. Yeah, even if it does by, like, pay, benefits, growth, stability, all that alone. If the AGLC opportunity pans out, I gotta take it. Like, I'd be a fool not to. I think on Discord as well as a few extra messages too. Okie doke. I'll have a look-see after the stream here. Yeah, so I'm hoping that pans out, but I'm not taking a gamble on, like, that for sure, like, panning out. That's for sure gonna happen or anything like that. I am turning in applications to lots of different places right now. Fine, Luke gets a kill here. And that's another thing that's on my to-do list for this long weekend. I have lots of things to do. Get caught up on some of my stream stuff. Finish my Wii U project here. Make my room less of a disaster zone. File my US taxes. Apply to a shit ton of jobs. Maybe get the frickin' battery harness figured out on my Fargo because it's kind of corroded to all hell. And now that spring is actually coming, I gotta figure that out sooner rather than later. bake a pie and a really kick-ass tomato sauce for Easter dinner stuff coming up here. Of course, like, go do Easter dinner stuff with my dad's side of the family 2 days from now. Well, technically tomorrow, because it's after midnight. And then my mom's side of the family the day after. What else is on my to-do list for this weekend? Probably a couple other small things I need to get sorted out here. I have a lot of things going on. I'm gonna be busy. So yeah, it's a long weekend, which is a fantastic opportunity for me to get caught up on a shit ton of stuff. But it is certainly not gonna be a long weekend of relaxing and taking it easy. My relaxing and taking it easy time is gonna be dinners with family and my stream time. That's gonna be my equivalent of relaxing and taking it easy. I won't really have anything outside of that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little short review, not like anything super long or crazy complicated. Employee evaluations of you there. I know that the moment I leave my current job, if my boss is talking about, like, the way that I was to new employees, he's gonna be like, oh yeah, Jake was alright, but he just couldn't take responsibility for things, and he didn't want to, like, take on bigger roles. That's what he's gonna say about me. I already know it. Yeah, fun there. Lots of crazy things. Ended up buying Hades and Monster Hunter Stories 3. Nice, nice. My cousin keeps on talking to me about that, because he's big into Monster Hunter. And I play some Monster Hunter with him there, as you've seen. He keeps on telling me and my little cousin about Monster Hunter Stories 3 and being hyped for it and stuff, but I don't know really the first thing about it. Apart, he keeps on sending me clips and stuff, so I know about it from that. I'm on like a 14-day work streak right now. Jeez. Work all the way till Easter Sunday. Yeah, that's really busy there. With everything I've got going on with, like, life stuff, I don't think I'd be able to do that. You remember how I was talking about, like, my work-life balance and coming home and, you know, continuing to study? Yeah, I think continuing to work through the weekends, I wouldn't be able to handle that. I need some time for things like this, you know? I get a kick out of it and help me stay sane. But yeah. Yeah, lol, but who cares? We'll both be out of each other's lives. Yep. That is true there. So you accidentally bump into each other somewhere else outside of work. My one coworker that referred me into the position. There's a good chance I'll end up seeing him in the future. But, I don't know whether I would my boss or not. More days in a row than anyone else. Yeah, that's a lot of work there. I certainly don't envy that. I will say. Well, let's get Ephraim in there. How about? Ephraim's a lance guy. He'll deal with that sortie in no time. Let's get our guys in here. I probably don't even need all my guys in here. I wouldn't think. We just start building up support somewhere out here. Now that I actually care about that again. Tana's gonna have to start building up some support because she's my flyer I actually want to use. Yeah. Well, the other banquet cooks are getting like 1 to 2 days off each week, but I haven't gotten any yet. Jeez. Is it by choice? Like, are you saying like, hey, I'd like to work lots, or just assigning you, or do they see you as the junior that they want to give as much experience to as possible, or something like that? Like, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm getting the hours in, and it goes to show they need me, but why still criticize you so much? Maybe they want to give you lots of hours in, lots of experience, and lots of criticism so that you become like a super chef. It's a great opportunity for someone that doesn't have much experience. I was to say, why could I attack him there, but it's for that guy. Who wants the kill on Gib? Maybe Ross or something. Get Garcia in here too. Start staggering people so I don't build up the supports I don't want to. Something like this, I guess. Natasha should be at the ready in here for support. Well, different kind of support, not support conversations. Mom, and she said maybe it's because they see a lot of potential in me and they're trying to get me to step up and do better. Like, why the heck write me up then? Because that's another form of criticism and learning opportunity, I would imagine. Something like that. They're gonna turn you into the super chef. 3 weeks ago, they gave us banquet cooks only 3 days of work for like 2 weeks straight. I asked if I could come into work one of the days, and they said they wouldn't have anything. Well, I guess if they don't have anything, though, they don't have anything. Can I, like... Yeah, I can chip you away a little bit this way. What was that? Piece of trash. What do you think you're doing? Well, I think I'm hitting you with this lightning. Is what I'm doing here. I can eat one of those, but not two. But chill out. You're gonna get some EXP off of this, dude. You're just one of my backup units. You're not even gonna be in my main squad, but I still want to give you some levels as one of my backup units here and all. Yeah, do I even have a tab for my spreadsheet anymore? It's been like forever since I opened it up. I don't think I do I? Here, I have my drive at the ready, though. It's gotta be one of my recent things, right? Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. Here it is. Tana, now that I got her. Oh yeah, she can support, but my memory was lying to me about who she was going to support with. Good thing I double-checked that. Okay. Seth's other partner isn't here yet. Franz and Natasha can build up a little bit. Yeah, I can work on some supports here shortly. That's what I can do. But yeah, so they're giving me a ton of days. I'm like, hey, I'm on a 13-day work streak, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's what you want, right? Why are you complaining about it? I'm like, huh? Where you get the idea? That's what I was complaining about. I was literally bragging about it because of how many more hours I'm getting compared to everyone else 14-day streak. Yeah, that is a long span of working there. Yeah, it sounds like there might just be a decent bit of miscommunication there, I guess. What kind of sounds like there? Oh, he has a freaking killer axe! He can crit! Oh, I crit him because I'm just cracked like that! I didn't kill, though. Oh, shit. You can do that. Oh, imagine if I had killed, though. Damn you! Damn it! Fine, I guess it's Garcia's kill. I need this guy dead right now. Damn you. Yeah, not exactly the, best environment there, then. At the end of the day, work is super easy. Oh, that's good. Meanwhile, with my work, it's like, hey, the environment, I guess, is fine outside of the being led on part. But what I'm doing is super hard. I guess it's not when you use the workflow that I'm using, in a sense. Also, one of the most stressful things at work the past few weeks here has been setting up what's called a GitLab runner. Damn you. Another thing that I had never known existed before. So our, like, main place where we're storing this code and, like, making our branches and stuff like that is GitLab. Kind of similar to GitHub. And a runner is a task that you set up to automatically run tests on your code. Like, you merge to, like, the main branch, it'll run tests. Like, so, you know, you set up these tests that ensure that your system works. Someone pushes their new code to the main branch, it runs all these tests, it fails on this point, it's like, hey, there's a problem in your code, it no longer passes this test that it passed anymore. So, you know, it's a handy thing for being able to, like, test and make sure that things continue to work. Me and this university student, the one that's kind of becoming the project manager over time here, mostly him, has been figuring out setting up this GitLab runner on, you can't just run it on GitLab, you have to run it on an actual computer. And we were talking about hosting it on a AWS computer that we rent out online through the cloud, through the Amazon Web Services, or just a local machine in the office. And the boss on the programming side wanted us to just do it on a local machine, so that's what we did. It needs to run off of Linux, so we needed to set up a Docker container specifically for that, and setting up all these config files so it does all these tests just right. And neither of us have any idea what the hell we're doing, have never set up a GitLab runner before. And for the past month on and off here, I've just been Copy error message, give it to Gemini, see what it says. What do we have to change? Okay, try that. Copy the error message, give it to Gemini. And you'd think that setting something like this up could be a user-friendly kind of thing. No, it is the freaking wildest thing you've ever seen, where everything needs to be like perfectly programmed in some crazy way in this field that we don't understand at all. And there have been points where we've thought that the GitLab runner was set up and working, and all the tests are passing, and then it turns out, oh no, it's not actually fully set up, because it's not actually connecting to our AWS database yet. So now we gotta like reset it up again, figuring out how to make sure that it's properly set up with the AWS database. And we're working on that now, and it's just, I don't even know where you'd get started with this. Like, are there classes in university that would teach you how to make something like this? Or something like that? Like, I presume so. Or maybe you'd learn it as like a junior level programmer. Like, oh yeah, do this step, then this step, then this step, and then bam, you set up a GitLab runner and do these kinds of things for, you know, the specific code base you're working on. doesn't quite feel like we have that. And so we're just, much like my workflow for working on the actual code base, the workflow for both me and this other university student is very much throw shit at the wall and then see if something works. And we're just committing code with like changes to the config files constantly and trying to like throw shit at the wall until it works. And earlier today, as my coworker there is like committing stuff, he was referring to the programming boss when he's like, oh god, he's gonna kill me. He's gonna track me. He's gonna see all these commits and all these changes to the config files. He's gonna track me down. He's gonna string me up. Like, just so completely worried there. I don't know if it has been fully set up before. The main programming boss, I think, had a GitLab runner set up on his laptop, but he didn't want his laptop to be the dedicated machine because sometimes he turns off his laptop. And if someone needs to run the tests, well, his laptop is off. We're out of luck. So he wanted to have like a machine that we just have set up at the office that just is on 24/7. And anyone can call to run the test on our codebase. So we got that set up, and I programmed the computer in such a way that it automatically reboots itself once a week, so it gets like a fresh start. Every time it does so, it automatically logs into my profile. It doesn't need me to type in the password. It automatically types it in and logs in. And it reboots Docker, the actual container running this, and starts up the specific container that I need to each time. So I rigged that up, and now it is like a full, true local machine that is doing everything that it needs to, and can just be a computer that sits in the corner we forget about. Except we can't yet, because frickin' it's still not properly set up, turns out, for the actual GitLab runner. But yeah, in theory, the guy for the programming side would know how to do it because he, has set up a GitLab runner before on his laptop. I don't know if the configuration wasn't quite the same as we currently have, or needs are changing. I think it's something like that. There, I finally killed him. Oh, my print finished for a second with the sound that I heard, but I guess that's not the case. Still got a while to go. And we do ask him questions, but it doesn't seem to get us too far. So, I think my coworker especially is really worried that we ask certain questions, and he's just gonna like come at us like, why did you even think about going at it this way? It's like, we don't know, man. We don't know here. So, yeah, GitLab runner. Just rig this up so it runs some automated tests in the background. Like, there's gotta be like some clear-cut way to do this, easy peasy, some user-friendly way. Oh god, no, there is not. Oh boy. Maybe there isn't, we just don't know about it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, like, if they want me to step up and do better, I told them I'm still far from it, though. This is way too much at once. Let me take it a little slow and steady. I mean, I'm probably getting paid less than most people there already, so, like, why am I doing more work than the people who are getting paid more than me? That's how I used to think. I do the work now anyway, regardless, just to keep my job, because I don't want them getting the wrong impression from me that I don't appreciate my job enough, which I absolutely do. Yeah, that's fair enough there. I can relate there. It's like perfectionist type of shit that, no, not perfectionist, just it needs to work. And it's not properly working in ways that I don't actually understand. That's not possible. I don't know this shit. But yeah, I don't know here. Fuck! I did all that work to give the level up to Ross and he gets +1 HP. You've got to be kidding me right now. Oh yeah, I was going to build up some support before the end here, I guess. I can talk. Tana? What are you doing here? I came here in hopes of helping you in some way. But while I was looking for you, I got captured by Grotto troops. Is that so? Well, I'm glad to see you're unharmed. Tana, you should head back to Castle Frelia immediately. King Haydn must be worried about you. No, Ephraim, I came all this way so I could help you. And yet, here I am, helping you. Well, yes, that may be true, but I've been so worried about you, Ephraim. See. No, please don't look at me with those teary eyes. If you're really determined to help, then you're welcome to come with us. But you must promise me not to try anything reckless. Ephraim, thank you. I knew that you would understand how I feel. I don't need the fucking supplies. What other supports do I need here? Oh, you're done with that, actually. Are there other supports I can build up? Like, the one might just be enough. Erica, or Ephraim was going to support with Erica and Tana. Seth with Franz and someone I don't have yet. Franz, Seth and Tasha, done. Ross, Luke Garcia. Is he done? Look, he's done. Garcia, Namie, Ross. Look, he's done. He did it. Loot, Ross, and someone I don't have yet. So she's gonna be done for now. Yep, she's done for now. Let's see here. Natasha, Franz, and someone I don't have yet. So she's done. Yeah, that's as good as I'm getting for now. She's gonna get a support with the other person. And then Tana with Ephraim and someone I don't have yet. And then the next unit that I'd be recruiting using is Tethys. So, yeah. Unfortunately, doesn't have supports with anyone that I'm actively using, which is really quite unfortunate, considering my dancer unit here. Alright, I'll just build up support with those two for now, then. If there's still some support points to build up. Sure hope there is. Like, it seems like everyone who's first starting to work there struggles with figuring stuff out and learning it because they don't know it. But what about them when they first started? Did they also go through the same process? Did they have other ways of doing it? Boss mean, what about them when they first started? Did they figure it out? Slowly over time there. I think with my boss on the real estate side especially, he sees it very much like, you know, I use AI to figure out any problems I have. Why can't you just do it? And he, you know, he works like all day, always on call, always taking calls from tenants. Like, he works very hard. I do very much respect his work ethic. But, you know, my mom's analogy was that, like, oh, maybe he, you know, works as hard as he does and thinks everyone else should be doing the same. Something like that. And yeah, that might be true. Let's see here. Look, support. Bam!
Oh, Ephraim! I'm so glad to see you.
Tana, you should pull back to a safer location. What would we do if you were attacked by archers?
But I want to go where you go. I feel safer when I'm close to you, Ephraim.
I'm sorry, but I won't be able to protect you if I get into a duel. I have to focus on fighting our enemies.
Oh no, please, Ephraim, don't speak to me like that. I've trained with Frelia's finest Pegasus Knights. I can fight too. But I'm sorry if I've been following you too closely lately. But I promise that I won't be a burden. I'll work my hardest. So please, don't make me stay behind and wait for you.
Tana. Alright, if that's what you want, we'll go together. But yeah, how he figures it out with AI, like what kind of questions does he ask AI? I've seen him. He is not super thorough with it. I've seen him, like, how he prompts AI and stuff. Like, he wants an answer to something, like, I can't think of an example here. Like, setting up a device called Alertify, for example, because that's something that we're using from time to time. Like, the way that he'll prompt AI will be like, Alertify setup, or Alertify setup how. The way that I would prompt AI would be like, hey, I just got these Alertify devices, I've made an account, and I'm able to log into the portal. I see that
there's a QR code that I can access on the box. If I want to set this up in a unit using my phone, what are the steps that I would go about it? That's like my prompt. That's the way that I prompt AI. I do like very thorough prompts. And that's the same way that I do when I'm doing things like, you know, tournament simulations for different brackets and stuff like that, or literally anything that I do with AI. I do like very thorough stuff like, this is everything that's going on with like my background. This is what I want to do. Now how? He gives like very little context, and like I see him get frustrated sometimes with like it outputting not what he was trying to ask. But I mean, if I were a real person looking at his message that he typed in, I wouldn't know what to tell him either. Same with my coworker that I'm working on like the GitLab runner with. Like a lot of his prompts are like very simple, just like this error message, how fix, you know, and it's like, you know, I guess it gets the job done sometimes, but sometimes it's also missing a lot of context that'll change its answer into something more useful for you, potentially. I mean, anyone that's seen the way that I write in messages, like explaining things to people, even just my rambles here, will know I explain things extremely thoroughly. It's the same way that I do it when I prompt AI. So, AI, when I give it prompts, gets a lot of background information, and has like a lot to work with to be able to like actually process and think about things. And so it can help give me better answers and stuff. I like to be thorough like that. And I feel like some of my coworkers could benefit by being at least a little bit more thorough than like the super bare bones stuff that they prompt AI with, and just assume that it knows exactly what the heck you're talking about when in plain English what you're typing in doesn't even make any sense, man. I'm probably about maxed out on support points here pretty soon, is the case. But yeah, so as written on my review, I overcomplicate stuff too much. Yeah, I've had that be, I've had people criticize me for that as well, where it's like, you know, I explain things pretty thoroughly, and people will say, like, that's too much. Like, just get right to the point. It's a skill to get right to the point. And then the following week, that's what I tried to do. There was this one lock business that could, you know, that fashioned different keys and locks and stuff like that. And I don't have a key to the door of my Fargo. That key is long gone. The ignition key is a different one, because the ignition had to be replaced because the original key was lost before I was even the owner. So, there is a lock to the door on my Fargo. I can't use it. I don't have a key for it. So, I needed that problem solved. And so I went to this one business, and I just asked the most basic, to-the-point thing I could ask. I asked, hey, if you have a lock presented to you, can you fashion a key from it? That was what I did. Just straight to the point. I had taken the advice of people saying, like, hey, you explain things way too thoroughly, just get right to the point. So that's what I did. I got right to the point. I appreciate the raid there, Walker Pipe Guy. How was your stream and stream? Welcome on into us rambling about a whole bunch of different things while Fire Emblem is going on here. What were you just streaming tonight? I was just rambling about, this situation here, so... I had been told that I'm too thorough about things, so I got right to the point in, like, this immediate next instance. I was like, hey, if you have a lock, and I don't have a key, can you make a key for said lock? And the guy was very confused about what I was asking. He had to press me with a bunch of questions from him to understand. And, you know, I explained to him that, you know, this is for my truck. I don't have a key for it. You know, the doors are just... Maybe I shouldn't be doxing information about my vehicle when I go to LAN events that... Well, I don't keep anything valuable inside it anyway, so whatever, I guess. I purposefully keep it empty for that reason. But this one guy that had to, like, press me for a bunch of questions, he told me, like, you need to get better at explaining things, because right now you are a very bad explainer. You are very bad at explaining things. And I was like... And I just thought in the back of my head, like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself. Because I had gotten advice from people of I explain things too in depth. It's too much. I need to get right to the point. The immediate next person, I get right to the point, and he's on my case about being bad at explaining things. And it's like, okay, guess I'll just go back to my old system. But there are some people where, like, I go in depth and explain things, and, like, they're just tuned out. Like, one of the Fragapalooza staff, for example, Maverick, who you've even seen on the stream here a couple times while I'm at LAN events. If I send him a response more than 2 sentences long, I am never hearing back from him on that topic. It really quite frustrates me, honestly. Like,
I send him like a small paragraph to try and properly explain something, I guarantee you I am not hearing back from him. And he'll just be like, that's too much. What the hell do you mean it's too much? It's 3 sentences. Anyway. And I experienced that with a lot of people. Anyway. Do not worry, Walker also rambles a lot. Oh yeah, no doubt about that. I rambled too long raid. Yeah, you kind of caught me at the end of a ramble about a bunch of things here. Started the raid too soon, truly. I'm drunk, lol. Do you have a decent few drinks during the stream tonight, Walker Pipe Guy? Both heading out, or one's heading out, or what's going on here? So my bosses are with me too, that's why they get snarky with me sometimes on stuff. Yep. I can relate to that with my programming boss there. Anyway, welcome on into Fire Emblem here. We're doing some late night shenanigans. Welcome to Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. This is a game that released 2004 for the Game Boy Advance, something like that. It was only the second Fire Emblem game to be released internationally, and it was kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways with some of its gameplay mechanics. But yeah, simple 2D pixelated game since we're dealing with like Game Boy Advance. It's a tactical game where you move units around a battlefield, but I just kind of destroyed everybody here, and now I'm just kind of making these 2 units wait next to one another, because that's what you have to do to make units like one another in this game, so you can get like bonuses with one another. But I think I've gotten all the support points I can for this map, so I can just seize it now. I killed the boss a while ago. I just have to seize his throne now, so I'm just gonna end the map now. Prince Ephraim, the rest of the enemy troops have been routed. Bring me one of the prisoners. I have a question I need answered. I'm going to ask you a question. If you've no wish to answer, remain silent. If you wish this conflict to end quickly, however, you will cooperate. What do you want? I'm getting another email from Dropbox. I already got one earlier this stream. Are you kidding me? Why has Grotto invaded Renee? I can't say. This war began on the Emperor's orders. Soldiers like me haven't the foggiest idea what he's after. Enjoy the lurk there, James Games. And tell me this. Where is General Dussel? In the capital. The general's been opposed to this war from the start. He's been pleading with the Emperor for days now, but the Emperor ignores him. They say some are questioning the general's loyalty. He's putting his standing and his life in danger by being so vocal. Is that so? Well, it appears General Dussel remains the same true man I knew before. What about Prince Leon? Where has he been through all this? Why didn't he do anything to temper his father's aggression? According to rumors, Emperor Vigard was convinced to start this war by none other than the prince himself. What did you say? That's ridiculous. I know Prince Leon well. No one hates fighting more than he does. He would never do anything to trigger all this bloodshed. Prince Ephraim, please calm down. I'm sorry. We leave the prisoners in the fort to the Frelian troops. Seth, I intend for us to press on toward the capital. At some point, I expect we'll find either Dussel or Leon. I'm sure we can convince them to join us in stopping Emperor Vigard. Also, a freaking another raid now, back to back here. Politico Stefan raiding with a party of one. How was this stream there, Politico Stefan? Was it some more Pokemon Legends Arceus? Or was it something else? What was going on tonight? Understood. But I have misgivings, my prince. General Dussel and Prince Leon are both men of Grotto. If we are forced into conflict with them, it won't happen. Dussel was my teacher, and I know he is a man of character. I've known Leon since we were children. He, Erica, and I are old friends. I understand your concerns. If worst comes to worst and steel is drawn, I will not hesitate. I'll fight and kill anyone who thinks to oppose me. Are you satisfied, Seth? Yes. I apologize for my rudeness. Your father is gone, and that means you are the king of Renee. There is no other. I just ask that you do not throw yourself into needless danger. I hear you. The decisions I make affect more than my own life. Once this war is finished, I will rebuild Renee with Erica. That is my mission. Myr.
What is it?
You must return to Frelia. I cannot take you any farther on this journey.
What? No, I want to stay with you.
No, Myr. I'm continuing on to the Grotto capital. It's going to be very dangerous. I can't protect you. Not as well as I'd like to, anyway.
Everything comes from that direction. I can feel my lost Dragonstone, and that's not all. The dark energy still flows unchecked. I cannot go home while it stains the air. But please, Ephraim.
Very well. I simply cannot refuse you anything. Your eyes remind me too much of Erica. You must not stray from my side. Do you understand?
Yes, I will not stray.
Grotto Keep. I'll get caught up on chat things here in a hot second. Decently long cutscene. Selena. Your orders.
I'm ready, Your Majesty. In your service, I'm prepared to do...
Dussel has left for Bethroen.
Take a battalion and follow him. Understood. When I arrive, I will place my troops at his disposal.
No, you will not. You will strike Dussel down.
What?
Dussel is a traitor. He has abandoned his country and sided with Renee. The punishment for treason is death.
But General Dussel a traitor? That's just not possible. There must be a mistake. No, I did not mean that you are mistaken, Your Majesty. But...
Selena, you have your orders. You will execute Dussel.
Your Majesty, will you allow me to ask you a question? When Your Majesty saw fit to make me a general, you shared with me some words of wisdom. I remember the moment quite clearly. You told me the role of an Imperial general is that of the shield, not the blade. We are here to protect our citizens, you said, not to threaten our neighbors. I've never forgotten your words, Your Majesty. I've held them to my breast. They govern my every action as general. Your Majesty, that sentiment is still alive and...
Go.
I humbly acknowledge your orders, Your Majesty. I am the Emperor's servant. I am Your Majesty's vassal. I am General Selena, the Fluorspar of the Grotto Empire.
Well, that's that chapter then. Let's see here. First stream since getting back from 3 months of Gone. Minus the 3 months of Duelists of the Roses a month ago. I'm not actually familiar with what that is there. But yeah, so just getting back into it after a time away, it sounds like. Nice, nice. And what was on the stream agenda tonight? What was the game being gone on there? That's not how words work. You know what I mean. Yeah, for now, they think I'm overcomplicating stuff just for doing what they want me to do when they first wrote me up a couple of months ago. So yeah, another stressful work environment sounds like. No one else checks out with them. None of the other banquet cooks checks with them. They just leave and can get away with it, apparently. Can't for some reason. I assume that you're probably the newest one on there. Not like I did anything to stand out among them. There's legit some real troublemakers in the kitchen. Yeah, a lot of their focus has been on me lately for some reason. Maybe they're just like super buddy there or something. Yep, another Predictive Legends Arceus stream. Watch me just continue to switch between two pronunciations of that. Just completed the quest involving the Lake Guardians. Okay. So getting there bit by bit there. Nice, nice. Who's trust this year right off the bat. For some reason, they don't completely trust the guy who's actually dedicated to the job, but don't care about the guys who don't fully give a shit about the work. Yeah, might just be some buddy stuff there. I don't know. I dealt with those during a false positive of COVID. How it go otherwise? Trust them, but for some reason can't completely trust me. Like, huh? Never once lied to any of them before, so I have no reason not to trust me. Sorry, more rambling. So it sounds like we both got our own workplace stresses here. Also, oh, no, the print didn't finish. It's a 3-color one. I completely forgot about that. Hold on. I thought it finished, and I left it be. But I forgot it's a 3-color thing here. What color did I make for the top of these? Oh, crap. Gallery here. Oh, no, I must have made the 3-color one sometime after. Do I want to do another bronze? Do I want to do a silver? That could be cool. Oh, crap. What do I do for the top of the base of this trophy? It's a good thing I didn't quit and start cooling down on me. Oh, crap. I don't actually know. What do I want to do? Maybe a silver. That could be cool. So the Fragapalooza one, for reference, I just did gold. Like, through to the top. So I can show what we're making here. I was like, oh, wow, the print's done. That's cool. Because in the photo it was 2 colors. But then I remembered, oh, yeah. This is set up to be a 3-color print. So yeah, it'll be tricolor here. Here, can I share this image, like, right to Discord? Discord. This channel here for look at them pictures and stuff. Let's just see here. Just mark these messages from Guzma as read here really quickly. And hop into that afterwards. So the one I made for Fragapalooza looked like this. What we're printing right now is the base. This piece right here. So it was bronze, printed that, it's done. There is gold here, printed that, it's done. The third color is this here. This little piece that actually holds this. So if I go with like another bronze or maybe a brownish or something there, I like doing silver on the sides. Maybe I do silver here too. I can use a metallic silver filament. And then that's a cool tricolor thing. Maybe I can try it. It's worth a go. Screw it, I'm trying it. Where's my silver? I have it here. PLA Metallic Series, silver. I think I'm almost out of this, actually. Yeah, I've got the last little smidges of a roll here. This is more than enough for this. And I think I have a refill that I ordered recently. I have a whole bunch of restocks of filament just down the hall. Let's see here. Let's try silver. What that looks like. Yeah, I saw I was done printing. I was like, oh, I guess it's just done. It peeled very slightly in one corner. This is going to be the last print of the night. I'm not printing anymore after this. Hey. I gotta give my build plates a good scrubbing. Because as you use these plates, here, I have the one here for an example. I have 2 that I switch between after all. As you use these plates that it prints onto, like it needs to stick onto it. It needs to stay in place so that the print isn't going anywhere. It stays still and there's no peeling. It adheres well instead of the plastic like peeling because it contracts as it cools. But as you use them, they'll be building up like plastic residue from your previous prints. And obviously, this oils from your hands. And that gets into the plastic and makes it peel. So as I do stuff like this, stuff is gonna stick to this worse and worse. So I just wash it like really thoroughly. Just some dish soap, get a nice like abrasive scrubby brush, and just go after with some warm water and dish soap and just scrub them down. This is what I do. So I gotta do that with these. I haven't scrubbed them in a while. So. Before the next time I print, these will be thoroughly washed and clean. Get off all those oils and plastic residue and stuff like that. So that's why stuff is peeling a little bit. That plus, me not using the enclosure for this material. I wouldn't use the full enclosure for this material anyway, PLA. When I print PLA, I just leave the enclosure open. You don't want the surrounding air hot for PLA. You want it, like, open air. But this stuff, I don't mind the enclosure. I can print small things, no enclosure, like the siphons we did this stream. But lots of residue and large surface area and no enclosure, and you get, like, the peeling there where it's not completely flat anymore. So, gotta do what you gotta do, that's how it goes. But yeah, let's see here. Rip Tokyo Mirage sessions tonight. Okay, I've heard about that. But, I don't know if it's the kind of thing I'd ever play, despite, obviously being very into Fire Emblem here. And, having played a decent couple Persona games, having a decent bit of Persona under my belt. I don't know if I would play Tokyo Mirage sessions. So, at a random 4 days where I played the PS2 title Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists of the Roses for the days I was back for a beat, but then got back and it's Persona/Fire Emblem time. Yep, fair enough. Played that crossover. So, back after a few misclicks. I missed that because of a drunken technicality. Lock in for next year, it seems. Yep. Gotta head up for the night, got work later in the day, it's getting too late. Yeah, I might potentially call it too.